I am sure sports. You know me there, I'm coast to coast representing. I mean, say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get your sports over here from near and far. Boy, 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 boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know the game play, that me not say it. If me never seen a game, me not know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the date, don't you want to love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crap of players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment. Let me know what your thoughts are.
Jamaican herbs and spices add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
And vegetables, authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
All right, greetings and salutation. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports. I am your host, Man, and we have a very great, excellent Legends Corner in store for you today. But first, before we get into anything else, I need to explain to you what happened. So, Andy Bomber Williams, he's in the state of Arizona. He's in the state of Arizona. So when we set the time, there was a serious mix-up because in Arizona, there are 3 hours behind the time. And so there was a confusion with the time. And so we were trying to reschedule. It has not worked, but we're going to get that down. So we won't have him this week, but today we're going to have on Durant Tati Brown. Tomorrow we're going to have on Linval Dixon, and we have a good weekend lined up for you. Linval Rudy Dixon and Durant Tati Brown, we have lined up for you for today and tomorrow. And also tomorrow we're going to have our schoolboy football show with Paul Maxwell, Javon Parchment, and yours truly, Man. All right, so my humblest apologies for that. In fact, I decided that I'll do this video. I spoke to my wife, whose birthday is today, and she decided that I could do this show because of the mishap yesterday. All right, and so this promises to be, like I said, a very good and exciting one. We're trying to work out getting Mr. Brown, you call him Tati on. We're trying to work out the technical issues behind the scene. He's having a little difficulty on his side, but we're going to fix that out shortly, and then I'll bring him on screen, and then we're going to have a talk with him about his ears. He's a very, as you know, one of the shorter defenders, but one of the most excellent defenders in Jamaica. You think about Carlos Puyol, Cannavaro, as centre backs who are short, and you think about Durant Tati Brown. And many believe, and I believe that as well, that if he were in a next jurisdiction, a next country, he would have probably gone higher. That's how good many people see him. There are many who believe that he is the best defender that they have seen in their lives, and they have watched what you would call the bigger defenders out there internationally. So he's highly rated, and he was an instrumental part of the 1998 World Cup campaign. Spent many years playing at Wadada in Montego Bay, and he was also in the World Cup squad in France 1998. Like I said, his name is Duran Tati Brown. We're working out to have him on. But in the meantime, let me give you a few details about the channel that are very important. Number one, all right, very important, that we big up our sponsors. Our sponsors are Trick Nick. They are the sponsors for this video. Trick Nick is a Jamaican owned and operated company in Canada, and they use authentic Jamaican herbs and spices to make all their products. Everything about it is Jamaican, including their label. All right, authentic Jamaican grown herbs and spices. They're offering 25% discount, people, on all products, right? And here's all you have to do is visit them and shop at www.tricknick.ca. And when you go there, you use the code I am sure sports 001. One word, it's in our banner going across. I am sure sports 001. And if you use that code when you shop at www.tricknick.ca, you will get 25% discount on all Trick Nick products. And guess what? They ship to wherever you are. All right. We also have a PayPal. Many people have been saying why you don't have super chats and stuff like that. We're not there yet. We're working on that. We didn't want to make it about that. But if you want to donate to the channel and the channel donates to a worthy cause, there is a PayPal, right, that the channel has. It's the name in PayPal is I Am Sure Sports, and you can just check us out there and you can contribute there as well. All right. I hope you're doing well. Happy Thanksgiving to all my friends from in the States celebrating Thanksgiving. To every single one of you, hope you enjoy your turkey. Hope you enjoy all your Thanksgiving, baked potato and all of those things, and you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is in Thanksgiving to what? Thanksgiving is in Thanksgiving. What is Thanksgiving celebrating in the United States? One of you, half American, half Jamaican, or half Jamaican, half American, can probably explain, or full Jamaican, full American. However, what is Thanksgiving? Oh my God, Claudine, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't want you to get in trouble. You have permission to watch the delay. Claudine, you have permission to watch the delay. It is 10 minutes after 5. Go enjoy your Thanksgiving dinner. Big up Gunner's boss as well in the building. Good to see you. Fresh God. Big up Fresh God, one of our moderators. The moderators are here. Look at that. Coach Karumi, more life, man. Bless up all the way out there in Mountain View doing his thing. All right, so like I said, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties on Mr. Duran's side. So we're trying to work that out to see how best we can have it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. All right. So getting some message. So I'm going to have to do some explanation. All right, so hold on one second. Yeah, you know how it is with technology. So it's having some difficulties down there in Montego Bay. Yeah. Oh, you don't celebrate Thanksgiving. Clive is saying that he doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving. Um, but what is Thanksgiving? Um, what is the meaning of Thanksgiving celebration? For one of you Jam Americans, our American Jam. I don't know. You know what is it in remembrance of? What is, yeah, I was trying to, Richard, I know there was no sound. I was trying to help our guests because we're having a little bit of difficulty, but I wanted to be on time. So I decided that I'd start and then I have someone working with him to get it going. So we're working diligently to get that. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. What is Thanksgiving in, yeah. What is Thanksgiving in Thanksgiving for? Nobody don't know? Yeah, man. Thanks for all the birthday greetings for the wife and things. So, yeah, man, really appreciate it. Yeah. And I need somebody to tell me, seriously, I kid you not, what is Thanksgiving in celebration of? What is Thanksgiving in celebration of? What is Thanksgiving in celebration of? Somebody please tell me. Yeah. Technology is a trouble, because we had this working and now we're having a little bit of a problem, but we should have him on in we should have on Duran Tati Brown in 2 to 3 minutes. But what is Thanksgiving? Come on, somebody help me. What is Thanksgiving in celebration of? Come on, somebody. Um oh, it's a fire for that. But it's a fire for Thanksgiving. All right, so let me see. Somebody's answering. It is said that the colonizers that took over the US gave thanks after killing the American Indians for the land they took by force. Whoa. Whoa. Really? Whoa. If whoa. That's I need somebody to verify if that is so. See, somebody have a different answer. You see what I mean? So no, I don't know which one. They have given thanks in celebration of the harvest. Are you serious? That simple? Okay, all right, all right, all right. Listen, what do you remember of Durant Brown? I mean, have you ever seen him play? How many persons in here have actually watched Durant Tati Brown, and how highly do you rate him? Because, like I said, many of the football persons out there in Jamaica believe that he's not just the best in Jamaica, but he's one of the best in the world. That is so true for many of them, and they all they said is that if he were living somewhere else and were exposed to other uh, territories, he would have been like absolutely world class. But what do you say? What do you say? Durant Tati Brown, how good do you think he is based on his playing days and years? How good do you think he is? You know, man, we talk about sports gunners, boss. But like I said, if you're listening, you'll hear me say that we have somebody in the background trying to work out with our guests to come on. So until then, we are just asking a question about Thanksgiving. If you don't have an answer, then you don't have to answer. You understand me? But Clive is saying try the thing. So what do you say, people? I mean, have you seen Durant Brown play? And how do you rate him? What are some of the things you notice about his game? What are some of the things you have seen from his play that you said, well, wow, this is a good footballer? Because many people believe that Jamaica don't have any good ballers or big ballers or world-class ballers, but how good was Durant Brown in his playing days? I see somebody here saying that he's good, but Carbet is better. Really? That's Anthony Badas Carbet. All right. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. Um, Claudia said, I watch him, and of course, he's world class, but I'm biased of my Reggae Boys. That's, yeah. Yeah. Jamming Tunes Music says Durant Brown was the Jenna in the back line. All right. Tati Brown is a big baller. And then Connor's Bar said Durant Tati Brown was a solid football player. Like, how do we? Because one of the issues, one of the challenges I have is that sometimes, like, when you look at who are some of the defenders were maybe a little taller but almost the same height as Durant Brown. When you look at a player like Cannavaro, who won the Ballon d'Or, I believe. He's the Italian defender. I think before this World Cup, when Italy won the World Cup, their previous World Cup, Cannavaro was a part of that team. Very good, excellent defender. He wasn't the tallest, but had a very commanding presence. Then you have Carlos Piolo, who's also a shorter defender, but very good. So I think sometimes we don't rate short defenders, but Durant Tati Brown really, yeah, for a short defender, he can read the game very good, and he was a cool defender, and he never lost many aerial duels, not because he went up in terms of heading the ball, you know, but he always seemed to get to the ball first, like I said, Marlon, and somebody said because of his ability to read the game, he had a lot of success as a defender. And like I said, I think he was very key to us qualifying for the World Cup, and I mean, key to what are the winning many Premier League titles And I think one of the drawback of our football in the Caribbean is that during that era when you had the Leon St. Louis, the Russell Latapi, and some of the Durant Tati Brown and many of our Jamaicans, a lot of these guys, the opportunities to play internationally wasn't really made available to them. Excuse me. Yeah, wasn't made available to them in the prime of their career. And they were brought to prominence by Jamaica qualifying for the World Cup when they were for the most part past their prime, or they were a little old, right? But I will ask him that. I'll ask him Clive Smith, who taught him the game. But P. Barris is right. The man can read the game, man. Yeah, Barrington Gaynor was also a short defender. That is Gaynor, Cabra Gaynor. But he was more a wing back because I think he played on both flanks, left back and right back. I see Richard Stuart Brown said if he was born in England, he would have been an excellent CDM. You know what? That is true. Because center halves normally center halves normally are excellent defenders. Excellent defenders. And so I think so. I think sometimes where you are born, sometimes yeah, kind of determine how far you go in the sport. You know, at least in the 80s, in the 1780s, 90s, and probably, yeah, but in the 2000 more opportunities have opened up. More opportunities have opened up for the players these days. A lot more opportunities have opened up for players. But I think that the Linval Dixons, the Durant Brown, a lot of these guys in and on the low in the prime of their career, they weren't afforded the opportunity to play at the highest level. And I don't know. I just think like they would have been or could have been as good as any of those players in the world at that time. They were just not given the opportunity, you know. Lloyd O'Connor, I would include Russell Latapi because he had a successful cup. Oh, you wouldn't include him? Career from Jamaica to Scotland to Portugal. Yeah, that is true. You know what is funny? And I mean, I have someone who is going to come and share about this because even this whole Russell Latapi, Leon St. Louis, and Dwight York, it was the same person that worked those, kind of helped in getting those three guys out of Europe. And I always wondered, like, why, during that era, especially when they were at Port Morant in Jamaica, like certain contacts were not made with the same person who got the Russell Latapi and Leon St. Louis and the Dwight York out of the Caribbean to get some of the Jamaican players then outside of the Caribbean to play. Only a few were playing at the highest level, like Freddie Butler at that time and a few others. And I always wonder that, like, what were some of the reasons why, Jamaica wasn't maximizing yeah. But Digital Home Tech saying Durant Brown was a game changer. Read, intercept, build from the back, even advance the ball with his dribbling skills. All right. Yeah. Yep. Listen, so we're still having some difficulties. You know that today I was going to do a video and about, and I'm just going to share with you what I was going to talk about today, and then when our guest comes on, then we can go to him and see how this goes. Now, that video would have been titled "The Inquest of Coach Theodore Tapper Whitmore." Okay. Of course, Theodore Tapper Whitmore. I think, yeah. The inquest. And really, I think we have Mr. Brown coming on now, but there's some camera issues, so let's see, right? But really to ask, what is your assessment, your honest assessment of the three windows? And when you put things into context, when you put it in context, when you put it in context, how would you evaluate his performance and the results so far? And how much responsibility should, you see how long the question should take, how much responsibility should he take as it relates to the team's performance? And I'm going to put up the number and you can call in. Yeah. Yeah. How much responsibility? And let me say, like, yes, there is some blame that we can put on the coach. But let's look at the first window. The first window that we had in this World Cup campaign. What happened? Right? Let's look at the first 3 games in the window. It wasn't the best, but what happened? There was a serious problem with the players who could make it and who couldn't make it coming out of the Gold Cup. And at least initially for the Mexico game, the arrangements were not, I would say, were not properly made. And so the team suffered because of that. What happened? We went to Mexico, and the truth is that most people thought that Mexico would have had the upper hand. Most people thought like Mexico would have had the upper hand. In other words, the expectations were that we would possibly lose to Mexico. That was the expectation. The expectations were, you know what? We are going to go into the Azteca. We had a weakened team. We were supposed to lose. But as the game got on, many of us felt like, whoa, we could get something out of this game. Now, I don't know if it is fair to blame the coach for us losing when our original expectations were that we were going to lose. Right? The second game, we're still not sure as to how that team was selected, because there has been suggestions that there was at least some talk of players playing that may not have been the coach's selection. There have been those talks. And so when I think about that, you can't even blame. You don't even know who do you blame. The person who imposed the players, right? You don't know. The third game that we played in that window, we got a draw. Coming off a poor game in our first game. That game we felt like we could have won. But the truth is, in World Cup qualifier is a country that we normally lose in. So when you really think about it, the game that really messed up the first window the most was the Panama game. Right. And I like what Capo Sambo is saying here, that, and part of it is that our expectations change during the games, not before the games. Right? And so that's part of the difficulty in that first window. So who do you blame? Do you blame the administration predominantly for what happened, and then say, you know what, the coach was culpable in some of his team selection, and the players that were used were just not ready? And so you'd say 60% is with the federation, and the next 40 is shared between the coach and the player, however you want to split it. The second window is, I think, where the major issue was. Because in the second window, we had the USA, we had Honduras, and we had Canada. Again, going into the USA game, the expectations were that we would lose. But as the game progressed, we felt like we could have gotten something out of the game. So up to this point, the real issue is not really the results per se, but the performance of the team. Then we won in Honduras, and then we drew with Canada, who have not lost a game. So were we really supposed to beat Canada at home? Because no one has really defeated Canada. So to get a point out of the Canada game wasn't really bad. The third window, I think, is where now the coach gets blamed the most. Again, not because of results, but because of performances. In other words, most of us felt like we should have gotten a result out of the El Salvador game. We should have gotten a better result out of the America game. And we could say that several calls went against us in the American game. And so when you really measure it like that, is the coach results bad, or it is that the team performance is bad? What is the merit of should be the merit for his dismissal? All right. So I want you to give me, people, give me 5 minutes. No, not 5. What's a 5 minutes? Give me 2 minutes. We're going to talk to Mr. Brown because he's having some difficulties. So let's see if we can help him out. So you won't be hearing me. I'm sorry about that. We're having some technical difficulties with Durant, so we're trying to figure it out. So they're working on that for me. All right. I see. For me, it is the in-game man. Yeah, and I think so. I think what has happened is I think it is a dispute within the team. It is a taste of what is happening in the team that is a problem. But when you put the whole campaign in context, are the results terrible or are they reasonable? Were we supposed to beat Mexico in Mexico? Were we supposed to beat the USA in USA? Were we really supposed to beat Canada, the only undefeated team? I don't think so. I think what needs to happen going ahead is that we need to win the games, and the performances and the play of the team must be better. Brian, you have to tell me, man. I don't know what is going on. Tell me. What are you going on? Tell me, no, man. Send me the message. I don't know. What is going on? Hey, who is this? Richard. How you doing, man? Hope you're doing well. I hear someone saying that if we had performed creditably in the Gold Cup, our expectation going into the World Cup qualifier would have been high. So I put all the blame at Tapa's feet. The writing was on the wall in the Gold Cup. That was not that Tapa was not fit. Okay. Now this is where I can say, listen, when you look at the Gold Cup, you could have said, well, he never got the team going well in the Gold Cup. And that is absolutely right. Because the expectations, I think, were very high. The players not picking themselves and the team doesn't have a system. Everyone out there can pick a better starting 11 while the coach can do that. So this is the issue now. The issue is more team selection, which lies at the coach's feet. Listen, all right? So I know Sir Brown he's people, you don't know how hard he's trying to come onto this, I'm telling you. But he's having a difficult time. I'm going to drop the link for some of you to come on in the meantime and talk some Reggae Boyz football in the meantime, and then when Durant is ready and he comes on, then we will What's going on? What's going on down there? You have to tell me that, Man of Steel. Oh, you're talking about the signings, yeah, man. Okay. Upbeat boss. Okay, so Upbeat boss is saying 50% blame on the coach, 30% blame at the JFF, and 20% at the players. Man of Steel, I'm not seeing you. Welcome to the link, man. Man of Steel, where are you? I'm not seeing you. I see a white screen. I'm not seeing you. You're still the circus thing still going on, So I don't know what is happening. Yeah. Yeah. The coach, 50% of the blame. The players. Are our players good enough? Like, how good are our players? Let me say this here. How good are the players that we have been using? When you rank them with some of the better, with the players in CONCACAF, how better are they in comparison to the players that we're going up against? Right? Here it is. Richard is the best. Big topic. Results were expected. to be better, I suggest. Yeah. All right. By far, the coaches made some bad calls, um, starting players that should not even be in the team. All right, you hear that? Clive Smith says, if we only get 2 points in next window, what's next moving forward? Like, honestly, from where this is just me, my humble opinion. All right. Yeah, where we're at right now, if we qualify from here, it's a miracle. That's my humble opinion. If we qualify from here, it is it is an absolute miracle. I have Unseen Sports. How you doing, man?
I'm here, man. I'm here. How are you?
I am here now. We're trying to see if we can sort out Mr. Durant Broad, but we're trying to get him on at work, But I see some more comments coming on. Boy, you doing, man? We have a big show tomorrow with the schoolboy football, so we're just talking some Reggae Boyz right now.
Tomorrow is a lot of things we're going to talk about, a lot of upset.
Yeah, man. But so welcome to the show, Unseen Sports. Let's see if we can chit chat until we get things sorted out.
Yes.
Richard Stewart says 100% blame on JFF. They were warned by the technical committee not to hire Tapper. I don't think they were told not to hire him. I don't think the technical committee was in place at the time of Tapper's appointment. I think they may have suggested that Tapper should not have been the coach at some other point. Yeah.
Okay.
65% on Tapper, 30% on the JFF, and 5% on the players. Whoa. Which set of players? Are all the players? And then this person is saying 50-50 coach and the JFF. What say you, Unseen?
Well, I'll give the JFF more blame because, preparation towards this World Cup wasn't a great one. A lot of blame go towards them in terms of when you are going to prepare for a game, how many players are left out for certain reasons, physio and not being able to come with play and all of those things. So I'll give JFF like a 65% blame, and the coach, I'll give the coach the remaining blame, the remaining percentage blame. Oh, Unseen is off.
You have to give how much percent blame the JFF getting?
65. And the rest is for Tapper.
Okay.
So the JFF for me will get most of the blame because they are, unprofessional. Badly.
Okay. But let me ask you, how many points did you think we would have had by now?
We could have got 8 points. We could have been at 8 points now.
8 points? So how
Yes.
much points we have now?
How much do they have? 6. That's 6, right?
No, man. Yeah.
7.
You don't even know how much points we have when you talk about. Yeah.
I lose interest at this, World Cup, because I lose interest and start focus on the schoolboy,
Hey, then you're not qualified to talk about it. What this man talk about, man? We have 7 points, sir.
7 points, yeah, that's 7 points. It's a miracle. It's going to take a miracle for us to go through.
So, here's what I'm saying to you, right? Here's what I'm saying. Tapper, we are on 7 points. How many? Because the question we have to ask ourselves is, realistically, given the amount of away matches that we had, Canada, look who we have played at home. We have played 3 of the best teams at home.
Right. We lose 1.
Right. The 3 best teams right now on form are the teams that we have played at home. Canada, Panama, and the USA. We tied with 2 and we lost to 1 in a game that the coach hinted at his selection being interfered with. Whether it is so or not, we can't validate it.
He hinted?
Yeah, I think so, but we can't validate that he suggested that. And then remember the JFF president had to come out and say we have nothing to do with team selection.
Okay.
Because of statements that came out. So, how many points did we realistically believe that we would have at this? Because we have to look at it that way. Let me just answer Wayne. Wayne Evans, you know that we have been trying now for 49 minutes. He's trying, you know. So I'm going to let Unseen work the show for me. And I try to reach out to him to see if we help him. I have someone helping him, but it's not working out. So I'm trying to see if I can get it sorted out. But he has been trying. He keeps coming in. People, let me tell you, let me apologize for him. He keeps coming on, but the camera, are trying to get different persons to help him because the camera, he's not being able to access the camera and the mic to come on the platform. And so that is what is happening.
Is the problem.
Right. So we're trying to help him to sort that out. So that is why he's not on. So whenever he comes in the back room, he can't come on screen.
Okay.
Look at Andrew playing some good food. No, he's using a cell phone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sometimes the cell phone gives problems on this software thing.
Yeah. But go ahead. How many points do you realistically think we would have had by this point?
So we lost 1 home game. Quality team. For me, if we add all the better players for most of the games, man, we would have been pretty much, I think we could beat Canada out here. So that would be 3 points. We beat Honduras, that would be 6. I think, I would say the USA game would have been a draw out here. So that's 7. El Salvador game, I think we should win that game. So that's 10. The Panama game, I think we could get a point from that. So we're at 11. We lost the USA game big time. So I think 11 points would be a perfect, summary of how much we will get from each game. That's what I think, people. What do you think, people? Do you think that 11 points, realistically, we could get 11 points from those games? Because if you look at the opponents that we played Panama, who is in farm. We play USA, who is in farm. We play Canada, who is in farm. But the games out here, I think we could get a better result from with all of our quality players. We could get a better result from the Canada game, right? And the USA game, we could get a better result. 15 points, big deal. Well, you have to explain, which team we could get that from, which matches we could win 3 points from, realistically. Because remember, we fielded our best players in the Panama game and we get our ass beaten. Remember, we played the Panama team with all our top players and our top players, we think, and we get beaten. So brain drain, if we started putting together the best team early with a competent coach, this would have been an easy qualification. 3. That's true. Yeah, brain drain. Why? Yeah, man, wrong word. Wrong word. 3 from CR7. CR. Oh. Yeah, we could get Costa Rica. We could get Costa Rica. We could get that. Money's man. It all starts from the recruiting and preparation. We prepare to fail and have been excellent at doing so. Stan Cranky. Big up yourself, Stan Cranky. That's true. You can you can't expect to qualify without winning home games. Yeah, and that's what Canada doing. Canada is performing well at home and try to seek out a point out on the road. And that's why they are performing like this. You can't go to Canada and expect it's going to be an easy game for you. Right? Can't go to them and believe that's an easy game for you. Richard. Big up yourself, Richard.
Greetings unseen. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, we're hearing you loud and clear. Loud and clear. So, what says you? What realistical points we could be at right now in say everything was okay for the Reggae Boyz?
Well, I've just decided to pipe in because it seems as though Manning's man, and I'm just checking with yourself if you too are rewriting recent Jamaican footballing history. As I understood, this current crop of Jamaican players was amongst the strongest we've ever had. Qualification from an octagonal tournament, top 3, top 4, with the crop of players we've got active, ready and willing to go, should have been not quite a shoo-in, but they should have been in a very strong position and fancied themselves to be on board a plane to Qatar. Now, is that overly optimistic in hindsight, or would you disagree? I'm listening very carefully. I'll put my banner, pin my banners high for all to see. Tapper Whitmore, with all the best intentions, has tried, but he has come up short. I don't think that his tactical acumen has been strong enough, and his selections, tactical astuteness has been found wanting, and I think that's hamstrung our campaign to a large extent. I fully expected Jamaica to be up in the table, shooting for the stars. Instead, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. What say you, unseen? I'm listening very carefully, my brother.
I'm saying the same thing. I expect better from this Jamaica team. The preparation from the JFF, it wasn't there, especially for the Gold Cup. We wanted certain players that would get game in this World Cup qualification to be in that World Cup. We fall short in the World Cup because of tactical and technical problems from these players, especially from the coach, and it was carry over to the World Cup qualification, and then the JFF come with their problem again. Persons can't play because of playing fear, lot of behind the scenes problem. Interfering also with Whitmore. I definitely believe that they interfere with selection with Whitmore, trying to tell him who to play and whatever. You understand? As a coach, I go through that in Jamaica as well. Manager want to dictate to you who to play, because they are the ones spending the money. Yeah. So it's just basically we shooting ourselves in the foot. The other teams we lost the game before we played. And that is one of the big reasons, Richard.
That's highly unfortunate, but that sounds like you're coming from the heart there, and that is highly unfortunate. Let me put another question to you, unseen. Bearing in mind what you've just said, are you and those closer to the game keen and willing, looking forward to Jamaica selecting the cream of the crop, the very best in quality and talent across the Jamaican diaspora under a quality manager going forward? Could that manager conceivably be of Jamaican extraction, or do we need an overseas manager? So there's two questions. Do you think that we need an overseas manager or a local manager to bring out the best in whatever team they are looking after? And are you and those close to you keen to have the best of Jamaican talent from wherever they are to be in the team. So no isms, no friendship, no, you scratch my back business. Do you see that going forward? And could that be a potential challenge to not only the JFF and the likes of such organizations, but the fans too?
Okay, Richard. So, based on the economical problem JFF face, I think they can't get a lot of they can't get a lot of player that they would wish to get. So that is one of the problems, right? They face. Um, yeah. So the economical problem they face. Also, I believe that I don't believe I think a Jamaican coach who is not biased to selection is good enough. But I think a overseas coach will come in without bias. You understand? It's easier for a Jamaican coach to go and get in the job and be biased to selection, players who they like and whatever. But for me, like Miguel Cole is a Jamaican, but he's working overseas, so he's a good option. And I don't think him as a Jamaican born coach would come with bias. You understand me? Because he's a person who studies the game hard and wants to put his input and see this country come out on top. But for me, I would prefer an overseas coach. Overseas coach. An overseas coach meaning that he can be Jamaican born but studies overseas or is doing well overseas in a competition overseas.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Richard, welcome, man.
Oh, good to see you, man. It's been a while since I've seen you. No problem.
Yeah, man.
Sir.
I'm here trying to get our guest on, so we're working on that. So I'm still working on it because he's really trying, and I don't want him to get discouraged. So I have to be encouraging him. But what I'll say is this: I do believe the coach must be held responsible because at the end of the day, a lot of it is up to him. Big up Stan Cranky and all the persons in the comment section. Really appreciate all the persons from America and Canada who are joining and watching now, though they are still probably eating their Thanksgiving dinner. All right, so big them up. All right, but what I say is that the coach must take some responsibility. But here's what I've said from the beginning: if I were in charge, I would let the coach select who he wants to select without interfering with it and give him 3 games. And then the first 3 games, and this is what I've always said: what is my points total? Whatever you want to do, you do. If you want to call a donkey, call a donkey. I'm not giving you no pool. I'm not putting players in no pool. You select who you want. All right? Because I'm not basing you based on who you select. I'm going to judge you based on the expected amount of points I want after 3 games. If you select who you want to select and you don't get the amount of points you're supposed to, then you're fired. Not because of who you select, but because you did not get the desired amount of points.
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. Mannings, I know you've been very consistent. You've been very consistent in everything you've just said. I've heard you say it time and time again. But the ball is round, Mannings. Point of order. The ball is round. Football is not 1 + 1 = 2. So sometimes you might shoot for, I'm going to go for 5 points. I expect 6 points from 3 games. It may not pan out that way. A ball can ricochet. You can get an own goal. There could be a rough bump on the pitch. I think that you might be kicking the can down the road, and rather than saying, okay, you didn't get X amount of points that you said you were going to get, that means you're fired. I think with communication and dialogue, I think that sacking road would be extended, and then you'd have a discussion down the line with a further 3 games and a further 3 games if necessary, unless it was a total washout. So I think that 3 games was a little bit,
so the first 3 games
diplomatic from your side, man.
Let me work from I'm going to take it from your perspective. So the first 3 games, one was against Mexico, one was against Costa Rica, the other was against Panama. All right, so the maximum is 9 points. All right. My expectation is that, listen, a minimum of 3. It could be 3 drawn games or 1 win. Say you got 2. In other words, 1 is unsatisfactory. If you got 2, meaning 2 drawn games, what you have done is you have kept in check 2 teams, which is not bad. So I agree with you. That way I say, okay, let me give you a next window. All right. And my expectation from the next window, we're having 2 away games and 1 at home, is a next. Remember, we lost several points. We lost 7 points in the first fixture. I can't get 2 points in this, right? So I need to get 5, right? So we didn't get 5 points. We got 4 points. So I say, okay, good enough, because we won a game, we tie a game, we lost a game. Not a bad window. The third window, I said that I'm giving you an extension. The third window now, remember, I'm not judging your selection. I'm judging the results. I am giving you the option to choose who you want. I cannot fall behind the point table anymore. So here's the thing. I need to start gathering points. If no, you still don't meet my point target, and I'm talking about players, haven't had all the players, then I have to look elsewhere. The issue we have is that from the utterances we have heard, it would appear that there have been interference, at least in the Panama game. And I am wondering, Richard, if it would be a better option to allow the coach to do what he wants to do and give him a timeline with expectations than to interfere or to give the perception that his selection is being interfered with. No, you can't fire him because he could come out and say, I was never given the opportunity to choose who I want.
I'm going to call out some names, and you are closer to matters Jamaican football than I am in London, England. I'm going to call out A. Powell, J. Watson, C. Burke, J. Fleming, and I'll go back to J. Watson, A. Powell. These gentlemen, time and time again, were without question or hesitation, for the vast majority of Jamaican fans, not the right fit if you are looking to play anywhere near your best Jamaican team. Are you saying, within reason and within what you know, that Tapper Whitmore did not personally select those players time and time again? Because it is those types of decisions added to the poor timings of substitutions, the poor tactical setup of the team, and the style of football, which has been one of the most disappointing things for me, that has left this campaign ailing. And going forward, we need a quality coach with quality thinking. Mr. Unseen TV suggested that a Miguel Coley, for example, could be a coach or a manager who has the required skills to get the job done. We need quality managing and coaching. Looking at the Klopps overseas, I'm here in London, England, and looking at the Klopps and the Guardiolas and the Tuchels, you can see the difference. Coaching and managers they are at a premium. They make such a difference. Leadership. That's what we're talking about, Mannings. And I suggest to you that, with all the greatest of respect, Tapper has not tapped in to what can make the Jamaican national team truly tick. Not necessarily his fault unequivocally, in that you can only be the best coach you can be. I think he's come short, but there have been some decisions that have really begged belief. Mr. Watson, Mr. Powell, what say you, Mannings, man? What's the word on the street? Or should I say, what's the word closer to the JFF?
You know, I work from home, so I don't know what's the word on the street.
You're thinking easy. You're thinking
But
easy.
let me say this, right? Let me say this, because you raise a very good point, and Cranky's asking Cranky need to jump on it, because I don't know, you don't eat turkey, you're a vegetarian, I believe, or a vegan, you're a vegan, so you finish eating long time. So you need to, your Thanksgiving finished from this morning, so you can jump on and say your make your point now. All right, so I don't follow your logic. He said coach has autonomy to select his team. If not, he should quit. And I agree. And that's what I'm saying. So I'll soon get to you, Richard, that if the coach feels like you're interfering with my team selection, if I were the coach, I would quit. No top class coach would do that. That's number one. Number two, he must get blamed for I think someone said it earlier. I don't want to say the wrong person. But what is happening is that he must take responsibility for the in-game management, the substitution, and those things. You have to take responsibility for that. All right? Again, when it comes on to a lot of the overseas-based players, the impression that I've gotten is that I could have done this without them. This is my impression, not saying it's out there. My impression, my interpretation of things, I would have done better if I never had them. It is in that context I'm saying, all right, give him a time to use who he wants to use from the beginning. Maybe that should have been the Gold Cup. And if it doesn't work, then you're bringing someone else from that point. All right, so that's number one. But when it comes down to some of the selection now, the Lamar Walker, like you said, in this game, for whatever reason, he must be held responsible for that. All right? So I agree with. Now, the suggestion about coach. And listen, I have a lot of respect for Miguel Coley for what he did at Jamaica College. But does that translate into coaching a senior team? What success have he had at a senior team for us to believe that he could lead us to the World Cup?
World Cup final as assistant coach.
Brethren, listen, if you're going to use assistant coach, why not use, I can give you many assistant coaches. Like, I rarely see, let me give you 2 points. I rarely see club teams, international teams, fire their senior coach and hire the assistants to keep on coaching, except it is in an interim situation. There's a reason why you're an assistant. It's not because you're better than the coach. It's because you're there to learn and to do some other things, or to give further insight. So I am not being dismissive of the idea, but I want to see him like a national team. We say the national team is not for players to come and develop. If the sentiment was that Tapper never did anything to get here, Miguel Coley has done nothing to get here either. We can't say schoolboy football is not developing the players and a man of success in schoolboy football, and we say based on that, give him the senior team. We have to make up our minds. It's either schoolboy football is very good and the coaches there are excellent coaches, or it is not good and the coaches need to be questioned. Because if we're going to look at those who have done well at schoolboy football, You can call Jerome Waite. You can call Wendell Downswell. Because Wendell Downswell have carried the under-17 team to World Cup, under-20 team to World Cup, and he has been an assistant, and he's a technical director. But we don't think about those guys because we say that they are Jamaicans.
Would you say that they don't want the job?
All of these guys will take the job. Jackie Walters will take the job. He has done. So we cannot use schoolboy football to measure it. All I'm saying is that Miguel Coley may be the right pick. He may be the right person, but he needs, I think I would give him a junior team to see how he manages that. Then give him a senior team trying to qualify for the World Cup at this point to do it.
I don't agree with that one, sir.
Well, that's fine. All right. So tell me the mark.
I'd like to say, yeah, I'd like to hear what Unseen. I'd like to Unseen.
Let me ask you one question, Unseen, when you say you don't agree with me, because we can have a discussion on this. What has Miguel Coley left at Jamaica College?
What did you say?
What has Miguel Coley left in terms of legacy at Jamaica College system?
Okay, so for me, he left a winning mentality. He also left a structure that developed players, meaning from under 14 train to train, under 16 train to compete, and under 19 train to win. That is structure at Jamaica College. So some people may say schoolboy football doesn't develop players. It comes down to the administrators and the coach. What is your objective? Right? And Miguel Coley said it on many platforms. His objective at Jamaica College was he is the coach at the under 19 level. So at that level, he is training to win. All right? At the under 14 level is trained to train. Under 16 is trained to compete. So that shows you that Miguel Coley is a coach that understands the different levels, right? Where you should learn football as a player, right? Then he was drafted by Winfred Schaefer. Winfred Schaefer picked him up from high school football, right? So that tells you.
Let me punch whole heap of holes in your thing. Miguel Coley did. Let me tell you this. Miguel Coley did not establish that structure at JC. He did not.
Who did?
Miguel Coley did not. That was established at JC long before Miguel Coley. All right. Number one. Number two, if you're talking about coaches that have been picked up by other people, all right, there are other coaches like Donovan Duki was picked up by Bora Mills, and he said that he's one of the greatest young minds in football. Not because a man come and take you up out of, because Duki was coming from out of St. George's or Highgate, one of those teams. Not because an international coach take you and make him assistant, mean you can manage senior players. Listen, let me say it again. Let me say this again. Ludlow Bernard is doing an excellent job at KC for how many years, and he has a system there, and he's at Harborview. Jerome Waite built a system at Charlie Smith, and he has done it at Arnett Gardens. Why are we not putting these people into the hat if we say Miguel Coley? What has he done? Now, again, listen, I think he's a very, very good coach, very, very great young mind, but I don't think at this time he's the one. Look, listen to this. All right, somebody just said it. Dennis Zaidi established the JC system and structure. This was years ago. Years ago. It's not a today thing. Who is this?
My name's man. Good evening.
The Vega.
You caught me out.
The Vega has left his
place. Man, the difference between Duki and Miguel is that Miguel went to a Gold Cup final. Duki never win nothing yet in his life.
No, all right.
What does Whitmore want? I'm just curious.
No, I agree.
No.
Yeah.
Let answer the question. What does Whitmore want?
Yeah.
He's a national team coach, by the way.
I'm not. I don't know. Maybe Caribbean Cup.
That's a competition, or is a friendly interregional thing? I mean,
It's a competition.
we have Caribbean Cup in Brooklyn too now. We have Caribbean Cup in Brooklyn too now.
It's a competition.
I mean,
It's a competition.
Man is the right question, which is, what is your resume when you interview someone on Scene Sports, right? And Richard and Man is Man. Normally you have a resume, right? Person has an accomplishment. You're trying to find out from them is what on paper reflective of what they have actually done and how would they fit into your organization. So when you interview Whitmore, who interviewed Whitmore, what about his resume that was so beholding, that was so much provided such a perspective? You know what? This is a person who has a qualifications for the job based on his accomplishments. So therefore, we're going to interview him for the job. And more importantly, he's going to get the job. What has he done in his coaching career to justify assuming the role of the national coach for a national football team? What has he done? Now, I know his record is good in terms of winning. Not that great against the better teams, by the way. But his record overall, think about Jamaican coaches, because he's in the national program for about 7 years now. So maybe he actually learned on the job. Even though from what we have seen so far during this qualification campaign, he didn't learn much, did he? Based on decisions that he has made. So I know we talk about different coaches, Coley and all these other people. Look, I do think when you go into a World Cup qualification, you got to get the best coach available, right? To give you the best chance to win. That's all you're worried about. We don't have countries like, you see certain countries, the larger countries with a lot of resources, they can go out and hire a coach, and if they don't do well, they fire them pretty quickly. The U.S. did that when they had, what's his name from Germany, as they coached for a while. He didn't make the World Cup. He had to go. Klinsmann.
Jurgen Klinsmann, yeah.
Stan Kanki.
Yeah.
All right. So I think Jamaica, JFF hired Whitmore based on what he did for Jamaica in 1998 as a player. And this is one of the biggest problems we as administrators use to select coaches. I was reasoning with Damien Ayat, a keeper from Arnett. So he says to me that he won Premier League, and if he put that on his resume and looking for a coaching job, he will get that job over a coach that did not play or win anything. You understand me? And that is one of the biggest problems. We tend to look on what player did as a player more than what he does as a coach. You understand?
Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense though, because if you look at world football in general, there have been successful players who've been successful coached. But you probably have more successful coaches who weren't very good players than you had great players who are great coaches. Now, sometimes great players don't want to coach, right? Because they don't have the tolerance of people who don't have the same ability that they do. If you look across the board, Guardiola was a very good player. Zinedine Zidane was a great player. But Marino, Klopp, a bunch of other coaches were never very good players, right? They played second division, third division. So I don't think being a player, you should learn certain things. Even if your head thick, you should learn certain things as you go through the process of being a player, from your started to where you finished up. And if you were an astute player who was looking for post-career thing to do, and you got into coaching very early, like a Mikel Arteta did, frankly, then it prepared you for the journey. You'll be taking in information as you go along the way to let you be very prepared to be a coach when you actually retired. But when I look at Whitmore, the package doesn't seem right. The package doesn't seem right for the role.
Let me say this, because here's where I agree with Cranky and I agree with you on Seed. The selection of Whitmore, there was some flaw in the process. We can all agree on that. What I'm saying is that we should not make the same mistake in the selection of the next coach, which is what we're going to do. We're going to select a person primarily based on the fact that he did well in the Manning Cup at Jamaica College. That is his credential. There's nothing else.
Right.
The only credential is that he won several seasons at Jamaica College. And I'm saying, if that is the premise for us selecting, or if that's what qualifies a person to coach for a national team in a World Cup campaign,
we still have to put the Gold Cup finalist belt
How
as
am I
well.
going to put a Gold Cup final for an
Assistant
assistant coach?
He was part of the coaching aspect. He
So
gives
you're going to put the
instruction.
so why not hire the goalkeeper coach?
No, goalkeeper coach is a technical.
So Unseen, you're saying you're good by association. You're qualified by association, but that's what you're saying.
No, but if you all right, that's the problem with Jamaica team, you know, right? With them hire some assistant coach. When I see what them do, them not do nothing.
No. Unseen. Here's the question we're asking you: why would you hire the person who was the assistant coach to a coach and fire the coach that was the coach that bring you to the Gold Cup?
They fire both of them.
No, all right. So Whitmore took us to a Gold Cup final.
Right.
Why are you going to hire someone who was an assistant to an ex-coach who went to the finals to replace the coach, a coach who went to that? To me, I have to look beyond that. I want Miguel Coley in the system. I have seen him being successful with youth. I would put him in the youth team at the under 17 level, under 20 level to see how he operates. And then maybe in 2024, I give him the senior team. But right now, I think we need someone with more experience.
Oh, you're basing it off right now. Okay.
But isn't that what we're talking? That's what Richard was saying about firing Tapper. If firing Tapper or Tapper being fired, who would come in and coach?
So based on what you're saying, it's okay.
So my name's man. I know football is not played on YouTube, and we'll be reminded of that quite a bit. I know, and we take it personal, by the way, right? Because we all keep repeating it. We take it personal because we think we know football, and we don't want anybody to denigrate our perspective and our football knowledge, right? But at the end of the day, if it's not even about the YouTubers, frankly, it's just in general. Because I have friends who call me very perturbed about decisions that I made, and no one seemed to have consensus on Whitmore's decision. Now we all don't have consensus. Not about anything. Any team you have, there's gonna be one player here or there, but his differential is huge sometimes. Like it'd be 3-4 players, and everyone's putting their hands up saying, "We don't understand your decision making." First of all, you have no strategy, you have no style of play, and then your selection. Even if you got the selection right, the players can sometimes bail you out, management, because just ability alone will get you to your destination, right? Even if you don't have a good coach, good system, you have the quality players. So we have first of all, we didn't source players, right? So I keep saying to everyone, Patty Shop Inc. is our biggest problem. Not Whitmore, it's Patty Shop Inc. It's not Whitmore. It's the Patty Shop Incorporated is our biggest problem. Until we fix Patty Shop Inc., we're not going to fix the football. We're not going to fix the football.
Go ahead, Richard. I know you're itching to say something. Go ahead.
I'm listening carefully, and I'm just trying to get the context and flavor of what's going on as we sit. Because Unseen, I've not seen or spoken with you for a little while, but I tell you what, I would like to get your insight into where were you on the night of the alleged night of the 7 daggers when Tapper Whitmore was alleged to have got his marching orders? Where were you, Unseen, as that news, quote unquote, broke? Manning's man, the same to you. I don't think I've spoken to you. Where were you, Manning's man, and where were you, Unseen? I'm not saying there was an unseen hand coming from your good self, but just refresh us, because as we speak, Tapper is not going anywhere. As I understand it, I've got this strong sense that due to financials, financial circumstances, he's not going anywhere. So this is not a conversation I'm having with a view to Tapper getting his marching orders anytime soon. I just want to be clear on that. So go ahead, gentlemen.
All right, let me say this. I was online, man. I did a video. I was doing a video when the whole thing broke. I did a video, but I was very it was reported, so I did it based on the report. So I was online. But here's it. I don't have a problem. I think given where we are right now, I think if we're gonna make a change, the change has to be made right now. And I think again, the process of selection is what we need to look at. What do we really want? Do we want somebody to bring us to the World Cup and continue to try and bring us to the World Cup and continue? Or are we giving up on the campaign and we are going to rebuild? Right? So fire the coach. But what do we really want to do from going from here? And based on that, to select the coach. What I have an issue, somebody just put this up, and I think it's a very good point. Carl Brown was not given any credit for Jamaica qualifying for the World Cup or being in France. The credit was given to René Simoes. Assistant coaches. Crank, you remember this. Freddie Ljungberg was an interim coach at Arsenal. After Unai Emery left, I believe.
Yeah, he was.
They had him. The man, he never had a bad start. But an assistant coach is really, you don't get the big team to prove yourself. And I think that is what happened with Tapa, and we should not make the mistake again and give the senior team to an unproven coach.
You guys, Cronky, man is man, unseen. Do you remember a guy called Paul Clement, for example? Comes to mind. He was a assistant manager, I believe, or assistant coach at none other than Real Madrid.
Yes, he died, didn't he?
Did he?
I thought he did, but maybe I'm missing it. No, he was on the Ancelotti. He was at Real Madrid as an assistant coach. He got a job later on and bombed.
And absolutely. So that mantra of going down the line of an assistant coach potentially going on to become a terrific manager, despite the successes of the club, you've got to be very careful. And I've never forgotten that particular appointment. So you can never take that for granted. Man is man, could you allow me to ask the question that has been posted by Pagan 180 there to good Unseen? Can you see that, Unseen? Rephrase the question. Was Whitmore worthy of the Jamaican men's senior national team hire based on resume, on his CV?
Cranky call this, why people think I am with Whitmore people. No, I'm not with Whitmore. I want him to get fired. No. Anyway, rephrase the question to Unseen. Was Whitmore worthy of the Jays based on his resume? No.
Clement is alive, Cranky. I think he's at Club Rouge.
No, he's alive. Yeah, you're right. I just realized that. I mixed him with someone else, but no, I didn't know he played. He was a goalkeeper.
No, Richard is not worthy.
I mean, mixing up Clement.
Yeah.
Okay,
Frank,
so
he was a Real answer.
Yeah. Let me ask. Hold on. Let me ask.
Unseen's giving the answer. He just gave a very succinct answer. Go ahead again, Unseen.
Let me ask. Hold on. Let me ask this question, Cranky. What is the objective of hiring or non-hiring in this case now?
I love how brainless like it.
Oh, brainless or brain drain?
No, brainless. No, it's not brain drain. It's brainless. Shatta is brainless, not brain drain. Hiring. What is the objective of hiring or non-hiring?
Objective is the key word.
Yeah, but your goal is, let me rephrase that. Your goal when you hire someone, you have a job to do. Can the person do the job well? Regardless of what discipline that is. If you're a fireman, can he go put out the fire in accordance with how you go out fires? Not just go do it as a cowboy without his gear on. He's going to do it the right way. If you're a policeman, can he police? Don't have to kill people to police really well. Is he a person who can go in the community, engage with people, build up rapport, identify situations, and de-escalate situations? So the person has to fit the role of what the manager entails. The manager is not just coaching the football team. The manager is the face of the public. The manager, and the question, what do you want from the manager, man, which is it just to coach a national team or to have run your entire football program? Develop a system for your entire football program, or just to coach a national team? So his question is more around what's the objective, what's the goal you're trying to accomplish? And as a person, have the skill set, the resume to be successful in that role. Depends on whatever it is that you're trying to get accomplished. And look, I think for the coach in this case, given where we are, was to get us to the World Cup. And if you don't get us there, you have to go.
True.
You've been the coach for how many coaches in the world and world football into the national team has a longer tenure as Whitmore has had? right? Whitmore Tenor runs what, 7+ years?
Yes.
Tell me any other national coach for any national team. There may be few who have been in their role as long as Whitmore has, given his 2 stints that he's had so far. You probably can't name 10. Probably can't name 5. So,
You got.
and if you don't get us, he hasn't won anything, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean,
hold on,
oh,
Cranky.
go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Someone is saying that race Cranky from, I think I played with him for Steve Buckner under 12 in the 80s.
Steve Buckner, you had on Steve Buckner, man.
Yes.
Awesome. Steve Buckner is awesome. One word, awesome. Steve Buckner is awesome.
Legend.
Steve Buckner is a brilliant athlete, brilliant coach. He went to Rusty's way back when Rusty's never beat Cornwall. And all of a sudden they won.
Well, you need to answer the man question first before you tell me the Steve Buckner story.
I'm not answering that question.
All right, continue.
Buckner is brilliant. One of my favorite people out there. I've seen Buckner coach, seen Buckner's team, see how he works miracles. If Buckner, people like Buckner should be coaching Jamaica's national team, frankly. Like you guys are, I've been around Buckner.
Yeah.
Ridiculously good.
Yeah, man, he's very good. He's very good. I know that. Right.
But this is one.
So let me ask you, Cranky. I mean, what was he like? What was it like? Him coaching you.
I'm not gonna say he coached me. I was around some teams he was in. What I learned about him was this, right? What he was good at was this. Is actually, he make you feel like you're the best player, right? Spoke well, make you feel like you're the best player. Bring camaraderie together. You against the world. I'll give you an example, Mannings, man. Rusty's had never beaten Cornwall historically, right? And I guess he went to Cornwall. He had issues with them.
Right. He shared that story. Yeah.
To me, what it was, he wanted to prove to. I think Cornwall was always where he wants to be.
Yeah.
Where he wanted to Cornwall.
But they
asked
him
to them that I'm better than.
Hold on, Frankie. Let me just say. That they asked him to leave Saint Elizabeth to come to Montego Bay. That's what he shared. And when he got there, because of where he was from.
Yeah.
And other stuff, he was not given the senior job. So he left. I think he left upset and he went to Rusty's. But go ahead.
No, he was brilliant. I mean, I tell you what, and he's a brilliant recruiter too, by the way. Not just a coach, brilliant recruiter. Pick the people who fit his system, who plays the position, and he got results. Think about it. He played cricket. He played football. He was a brilliant umpire. No, he's a brilliant person.
And he has a triple jump record.
See, I didn't know that. And he's also a great disposition too.
Yeah, and
so
he's a goalkeeper for Jamaica, and he kept for Jamaica.
Yeah, no, he was a brilliant athlete. There are athletes through those times, management. I think people have said this where they didn't get the opportunity as you have today. You had someone on who went to stats and played for stats and basically made a point, which is when they were growing up, you didn't have the professional teams that they could pursue their discipline they wanted to pursue. You didn't have the opportunity that we have today where you have so many leagues, so many teams, you can get exposure. They didn't have that. But some of these athletes, the mayor of Lucy, for example, Sheridan Samuels, was a brilliant athlete. Won triple jumps at champs, was playing, brilliant athlete. They didn't get the exposure, the notoriety, but they could be great today, frankly, in today's environment.
And I think he's a board member of the JFF too,
Huh?
He's a board member of the JFF.
Oh, he is?
Just drop that in there.
But Steve, you need to do better job. Patty Shop Inc. Steve, don't get associated with them. I know you're better than that.
No, not Steve. Sheridan.
Sheridan is?
Yeah, he's the president of this. He's the president of this.
I know Sheridan is involved in a lot of stuff. I know Sheridan is involved in Lucy Mayor. But Sheridan was a brilliant footballer, a brilliant cricketer, table tennis, won class 3 long jump at champs, didn't really pursue it. Nah, brilliant. His whole family, frankly. You know the Samuels family? Danny Boy, Sheridan. Brilliant
yes, Horace Samuels. Their brother.
Cement Kid is his brother. Yeah, Cement Kid is his brother. Yeah.
I didn't. You know that I'm supposed to interview Cement Kid.
Cement Kid is brilliant.
People, for those who don't know that,
he played for Buckner too.
Danny Boy played for the Jamaica Defense Force and Reno. Yeah, and Rossi's very good. Listen, yeah.
It's a small
excellent right back. Anyway, we digress, but excellent right back. Excellent. There's a reason they call him Cement Kid because nothing passes him.
I'd like to take a trip down memory lane for you guys while getting back on the beaten track that is Theodore Tapper Whitmore. Can you cast your minds back, unseen? I know you're there waiting with bated breath. Can you cast your mind back to when Tapper Whitmore was appointed the national coach? And what were your thoughts, hopes, and dreams at his appointment? I ask pointedly because the way that these two gentlemen, Captain Cronky and Manningsman, have been speaking about a Steve Buckner, you can see the effervescence, the energy, the respect oozing from them about him. Theodore comes across as almost the exact opposite. Communication-wise with the media, communication-wise with his own team. Paul Hall, the assistant, there's that word again, the assistant talking to a certain group of players on his team under his watch and detail. I mean, just cast your mind back to why Tapper Whitmore was appointed. What were your hopes and ambitions? Were you optimistic or were you despondent or were you willing to give him a chance? Because it's been patent since I've joined the proverbial wagon just before the Gold Cup that he's just not been cutting it on a variety of levels with the greatest crop of talent we've ever had. And you can't get away from that as far as I can see. Cast your mind back and shed some light on where you were when Tapper was appointed and what was the thinking behind it and your feelings around his appointment, unseen.
I think unseen.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay.
Unseen may be embarrassed. I don't know if he's shy. Did you hear the question, Unseen?
No, I didn't hear the last part. You kind of freeze. I didn't hear the last part that you said.
What was your thinking and your recollections upon the appointment of Tapper Whitmore to the national men's team? Were you hopeful, optimistic, despondent, or willing to give him a chance? What were you feeling, and those close to you feeling at his appointment to this national team position?
I was always questioning his resume, but as I said before, they hire him based on what he did as a player more than what he did as a coach. Because I can remember he got fired. He was coaching the Reggae Boyz and he got fired, or he stepped off the job, one of the two.
He resigned. He wasn't fired. Yeah.
Right, and he was coaching in the Dakar Cup, right, with St. James. So I am saying Whitmore as the head coach of Jamaica would be able to get players, to scout players based on his name easily. And it wasn't that stringent like now where you have quota rules and all these different rules. So he would get the best players at St. James High, right? Now, St. James not even reach the quarterfinal. You understand? In the interzone, Dintil with Coach Figo beat him, and he was the head coach of the Jamaica team. So I'm always questioning why this person get the job. As what Manningsman say, you can't use the schoolboy football to give a coach the head of Jamaica team, the national team, the job. But this man never win nothing yet as a school coach or nothing at all. So how him get it? I just can't come to that answer. No. So that's supposed to answer your question, Richard.
I don't think that we can say that assistant coach have been successful because Guardiola and Zinedine Zidane had no resume before they got the job they did, and they were big clubs they got, right? They were both B team coaches in La Liga, and they got the head job, and they did brilliantly, even though no one seemed to respect Zinedine's football capability. They think he's a team more than Zinedine Zidane. To let them play. Guardiola is deemed to be a genius. But I do think sometimes if you're close to if you're close to the player, like we've all been in an environment where you meet some people who are junior, but they're intellectually exceptional, and it's very obvious. It's just to give them experience to get to their destination. Their intellect is such, whatever discipline is. If it's football, their football knowledge is so good, even at a young age, because they've played it, they've studied it. They can see them being very, very successful. Do you normally get the head job? No. But you may say, you know what? I'm going to go out and get someone else, and eventually you're going to assume the role. I have the luxury of that you learn on the job, and we think you're going to get there pretty quickly, so we'll give you the job. But that's very rare. That's not the norm. And I'm not sure what Tapa has demonstrated to enable him to get the head job when he did, because I've never heard of Tapa. Tapa was a very good player, but Tapa wasn't the most cerebral player. Tapa was a Rocky Boo. Tapa wasn't a maestro. And, you know, people like to give Tapa this credit about how he played. I watched Tapa play a lot. He was a good player, but he wasn't the person who would dictate traffic. He wasn't a person who was setting people up. He wasn't a John Terry, for example. Those type of players you can see, you know, they're almost like born leaders. I didn't see that in his game, but obviously I didn't see that in Zinedine Zidane game either. But I haven't seen what Tapa has done as a coach to say, yes, he should be the person to run the national program. And frankly, and we all seem to have this view, his decision-making has left a lot to be desired.
Yeah. I think that, and you're right, again, I remember when
Yes, brainless. I'm only talking about you, brainless. No one else, only you.
Yeah. When Tapa was rehired, there was not a lot of negative sentiment given the circumstances. Remember, the first offer was not made to Tapa, you know. It was made to Coach Carl Brown. And there was some argument over $100. I don't know if that had to do with stipend, but there was something that he was very upset about, and that came out in the public. Either they offered him $100. There was a misunderstanding with 100. I don't recall. I don't know if any of you remember, but there was a $100 issue, and that came out in the public. And so remember, they also had to pay off, I think, Schaefer, because really, Schaefer wasn't going to leave unless he got his money. Arrangements were made, and they got the job. And so it was on that premise, because other persons were asked, but they weren't willing to take the money. Right? So he took the job. So nobody really, you understand me, Richard? So nobody was like upset, why is he? Because I guess because of the circumstances, and that is why you ought not to make long-term decisions out of short-term. When you're in crisis, in short-term situation, you make a long-term decision, right? You don't buy a house when you're under pressure and regret living in the community 10 years down the road. You have to consider. So here's what happened. They hired somebody knowing that, and this is where I blame the federation. You knew, based on the fact that he came off the job, that there were certain inadequacies. You did nothing.
Man. We keep focusing on the wrong thing.
Yes.
People keep saying, look, in the immediacy, optically, substantively, the person to blame is the coach managing the team.
True.
And I keep saying this over and over again. The coach didn't hire himself. The players don't. Haka didn't put himself in the team. Whitmore doesn't hire himself. Paul Hall doesn't hire himself. The one party who has the autonomy to make these decisions is Patty Shop Inc. I'm not calling them JFF anymore. They don't deserve to be called the JFF. They have done nothing to be called the JFF. I'm not sure. I don't care who is on that body. They can't be called the JFF because you're denigrating Jamaica football by calling them the JFF. They have made, look, the thing that drew my attention to all of this was the recorded conversation by Damian Lowe after negotiation between them and the JFF concerning payments, match fees, and all that. It was startling. No professional person engages that way. There has to be mutual respect across the table. And the way they were communicating, you walk away saying, these can't be the person who run our program. And the more you learn about how they operate, you realize that's the same old way of doing things. It's backwards. It's 1940s and 30s way of operating. It's not 21st century. So if you operate that way, how do you expect to get good outcome? Let's not focus on Whitmore. Whitmore is not the problem because somebody hires Whitmore. Somebody hires Whitmore. So it can't be Whitmore the problem. It's the people who keep him in the job and the people who hire him. It's not Whitmore. Whitmore is doing his job the best of his ability, which we may not all have support for. We may all not support how he does things. But he's doing it to the best of his ability. First of all, I don't think he's been given all the tools at our disposal to be provided to him. And second of all, he doesn't hire himself. I keep saying this 101 times. I'm not focusing on symptom. I'm focusing on root cause. Symptom is what Jamaica has. We talk about guns, and yeah, guns are significant symptoms. But ain't guns at Jamaica. Jamaica's main problem. Where do guns come from? Cut off the root cause. If you always say cut off the head, when you're trying to fix something, you say cut off the head, right? Cut off the head, nothing else moves. Okay, if I cut off your hand, you can still think and do something. Go to the root cause. Focus on the core of the problem. Fix the core, you fix the problem.
It's not easily fixable, but Cronky, I 110% agree with everything you're saying. Natty Congo has raised a point down below here, and it's a very good point. We're talking about the root of the problem. I put it to you, and I'm sure that you gentlemen may well agree. We've got the finest crop of talent across the Jamaican diaspora that we've ever had. What and how Tapper went about selecting his team was very contentious. And going forward, Unseen, I keep calling out your name because Man in Mans is not backward in coming forwards. He can talk at the best of times on us. He can turn on a sixpence. Stan, you don't need to worry about Stan. Stan can come at all times. So I don't want to leave you out Unseen. Unseen, do you have any problem whatsoever going forward? We're going forward, so we're thinking 2026 and maybe beyond, whereby the Jamaican national team consists of 90%. I'm boosting it up by 5%. Usually it's 80 to 85. 90% overseas-based Jamaican players. Get me now? Overseas-based Jamaican players playing their trades in England, Belgium, France, could be Qatar. Do you have any problem with us choosing the very best of our Jamaican talent across the diaspora? Or do we have to go into the nitty-gritties and speak about something else?
Let me just, before you answer, Unseen, let me just say, listen, people, I want to apologize on behalf of Durant Brown.
He's been
if
trying.
I show you how many times he has been trying, but there seemed to be some problem with the gadget that he's using. I mean, the only other option would have been to call him and do a video call, which would not have worked. It would cause some problems. But he did everything he could to come on. Tomorrow we have Linval Dixon. All right, they are very good friends. So what I will try to do is to see if I can have both of them on at the same time. All right, it's the same thing that we're going to do with Andy, because he also wasn't able yesterday, and so we may put him with Gregory Messam and have both of them do their interview together. All right, so we apologize for that, but that is the reason. He has been trying. His son has been helping him. I have someone helping them, but it has not been working out. So please understand, he's not, I mean, listen, he's a very, I don't know if you know, he doesn't talk a lot. So for him to even agree was a big deal, and he tried everything to come on, and it just don't work out. So my apologies, and I apologize also on his behalf. I know you were looking forward to it. I was looking forward to it, but please bear with us. We're going to make it right for you all.
Respect.
All right.
Respect.
All right. Really wanted to say that. Now, Unseen, you can take Richard's question.
Yes, Richard. So I believe I don't have any problem with Jamaica using the best player there is in the diaspora over the world. I think the best player must represent Jamaica, because at the end of the day, all the praises are coming to Jamaica, not England where they are playing in, but to Jamaica. So I believe the best players, whether they're born here or overseas, and they're representing Jamaica, they should be selected. Now, if you are a local bred player and you're good enough, you should be in the team. But if you're not good enough, you won't be in the team. And that's why I come down to a quality coach who is not biased to select. The selection is key for us to be successful. And that's what I think, Richard.
Beautifully answered, Unseen. Are you in the minority or the majority? How easy was it for you to come to that decision and speak so clearly eloquently and concisely regarding that answer, because there are many in certain comments I've seen on certain vlogs who would take issue with you. Are you the way forward? And was it a tough decision to come to that particular mindset? Before we hear from Captain Stan.
Well, I am a coach, you know. I'm a coach, so I have a little knowledge, trained from GC Foster College, so I have a little knowledge, and I do read a lot, listen to Manning's man, learn a lot from him. I also stand cranky, so you know, knowledge is key. And when you read and try to learn from the mecca of football, which is in Europe, because they are performing better, and try to get certain pages out of a certain coach's book, like Pep, the Tuchel. Chelsea is my team, and we are winning. So once you can get those ingredients from those coaches, you will know a lot of things. So that's where I get most of my thoughts from.
You know what I realized? You know what
Respect
you know what I realized, Cranky and Richard, and probably the person commenting unseen, is that the European nations seem to be dominating a lot of the football now globally. It's very when South America won the World Cup when last, it was Germany.
2002.
It was Germany, France, Spain. You know, I think Brazil were the last
2002.
one in 2002. All right, and before the only other European nation was Argentina
South America.
in Maradona time, other South American, and Brazil in 1998, France in 1998. So, and I tell you what,
Brazil.
94, right,
Brazil.
94, right,
America.
right. All right. What's the point I make? I realize something with the European nations. A lot of them, they have built up their league, their local leagues, and building up their local leagues have built up their local players, and building up their local players have made their national teams better. You realize that Brazil and Argentina, I think they are lacking in that because their local leagues are not as good enough to produce enough talent. So all of their talent are playing in Europe, but they have a coach located, or a coach in Brazil, right? So though they have a system and a culture, and the same thing with the Argentinians, you realize how Messi looks so different in an Argentina setup. I think, and here's my position, I believe the best Jamaicans, wherever they are, must play. But here's the thing. Your coach, if he's going to be local, meaning living in Jamaica, he needs to have players that he's coaching and working with very often, because you have to develop some of those players. That means even if you leave, there are some players who are coming through. So while you will get in all your players from England and all over Europe, you have to have a group of players, say 18-year-old, that every month you are working with to build them up, because you cannot. Someone said something to me, I don't know if you realize this, that we're getting, in the next probably 20 years or less, we'll be having, they're saying that the Windrush generation and their generation and generation, the numbers are dwindling. And so they're saying that it is possible that down the road, we may not have such a wide pool. I can't remember where I heard that. We may not have such a wide pool to choose from. So we have to find a way of sustainably improving the quality of our league, improving the quality of our players, while we're using the players who are playing outside of Jamaica and live elsewhere. But we have to find a way, because at some point, you may not have that market to tap into.
So, management, we can maintain that market if we're strategic in our thinking. I mean, all you have to do, I've said this more than once, do what Israel does. Anybody born of Jamaican nationality, no where they're born, they're Jamaican citizen. So they apply for the passport. Israel does that with the Jewish people. You can do the same thing. So no matter how many generations are down the line, you can maintain that continuity. That's what Jamaican government, Holness and others, I've said it before, need to go think about how they do that. Yeah. Right? So you can maintain that. You're not doing it just for football in general. Keep an affiliation and association with the island.
They say, say automatic JA citizen.
Yeah, I mean, you automatically become a citizen of the country, and if you have the laws basically said you have that lineage, you become a citizen, so long as you apply for the passport. I don't see why you wouldn't want to do that. I'm not sure why Jamaica wouldn't want to do that. They have nothing to lose by doing so. They change the rules and change the laws to do so. But I think you were focused on something management around players of based outside Jamaica or born outside Jamaica, right? Should they be playing for national? That's Richard's question. So I heard this week about a player named Diaz who plays for, what's he play for? Blackburn? Scored 14 goals in the championship. And he plays for Chile. And in fact, his name wasn't Diaz. He took his mom's name later on. Even to play for Chile. He can't speak a word of Spanish. Because I keep hearing about some British-based players don't know the national anthem. Man doesn't speak a word of Spanish. Somehow he's playing forward for the Chilean national team. You know why, Richard? An unseen sport? Because he's a good footballer who got Chilean citizenship. And if you're good enough, countries want to bring you in to play for them. It's very unique and rare to hear some European player who probably been to Chile 1 or 2 times, never been to Chile, play for Chile or a Uruguay or any of those countries, frankly. Unless you can clearly see their lineage, like you'll see a few players who come from Brazil, for example. But most of them always play for a European team anyway. They didn't go back to Brazil to play because there's too much competition. So sometimes you take more risk trying to go play for Brazil than play someplace else. But most people would have loved to have the problem we have about the litany of players who are out there, the number of players who qualify to play for us. In fact, Richard, I keep saying this, an unseen sport, we should be focused on championship players. There's so many Jamaican players in the Premier League now, young players coming through, young players who can play at a high level, who we could have pursued, who can't get into the English national team because the line is so long. Because what England's done brilliantly since 2014, when was it that Germany won World Cup in Argentina? They had to put a page on the German book, the Spain book around how to develop young players. They moved away from kicking the football long, Richard, as you may know, to more shorter pattern. And management asked a question, which is the industrialized countries, the European leagues, how they dominate world football. You know why they dominate world football? It's 3 reasons. It's money, it's quality, and it's passion. The money follows where the quality is. If the MLS could get those players, because I was watching Colorado play Portland today, and it was a sellout, smaller stadium, but a sellout. People here were into it. They're into it out west, not as much in some other parts of the country. And football here is going to become big at some point in the US. Not sure if it's 5-10 years from now. But the point I'm trying to make is it's all about the money a lot of times, because the quality is going to follow the money. The best players want to get paid. They're going to follow the money. They want to follow where the passion is, whereas people's livelihood in the as you know, in Europe, it's some people's life, Richard. They wake up, they wake up, they eat, they sleep, they dream football 24/7. In fact, work is a necessary evil they have to do that interfere with their football. Like, you know what? I was in the UK and talking to some people, you're just smiling. Their team is the only thing that matters more than even sometimes their families, for Christ's sake.
Not only money,
not
cutting it. Not only money, you have to love it.
No, but they love it because they're born and bred there. They grew up, their parents have it. There's a generational thing. It's embedded in them. So it's part of their DNA, frankly.
The persons that are running the Potty Shop Inc., they don't love it. They love the money.
Well, I'm not sure Jamaica is as passionate about football as you have in a lot of places in Europe, right? It's just a different level of passion for football at the club level, which some people don't care about the national team in England, you know. The national team play, I'm thinking about my club. I want Arsenal to win. I want Blackburn to win. I want Chelsea to win. I want Reading to win. I don't care about it. Yeah, national team, they win. I feel good. Some people are passionate. But I know some people, especially those of a different persuasion, who don't really care if the national team wins or not. They watch the games. They prefer them to other countries. But it's not what's embedded in them. It's not what they're bred. They're about their club team. That's everything to them, right? And so I don't think Jamaica has the same passion, frankly. In general, and pervasively, people do have it, as you can see for some of these programs we're involved in. But it's not as pervasive as you have in some of those European countries. I mean, it's totally
it's not
crazy.
A career. It's not a career out here.
No, it's not even a career. It's just a regular man on the street. Their passion for the football. The difference between me and you liking football and we go watch it, but we not want to spend the money to do it. People mortgage their house, for Christ's sake, if they could, to get money to go away games. They go play someplace. They go follow the team to go play, in Ukraine and in Russia. They go anywhere to go follow the games. I'm not always going to do that. I'll do that once in a while, but it's not.
The government
I would do for a club team.
The government don't treat us like we are visible. or coaches or administrators. The government don't treat us like we're visible.
Well, more recently, actually, there's a lot of concern about the Premier League, how the league operates, the Super League want to be created, the Americans taking over. They just came out with a report, which you may know, about 100 and what was it, 150 page or whatever page report they came out with, 100 and something pages. Talk about there being an independent body, governmental body overseeing football. I think what they want to focus on is the redistribution of resources more than anything else. No matter what they say, they want to make sure grassroots football it can get the resources to be invested in to bring football through the ranks at all levels throughout the country. They want to be able to then, if you oversee the Premier League, you can find a way to pull off more of what they're getting today. I mean, what they're not receiving. They do get some monies, but people are asking, one is that enough? And two, you need an arbiter to oversee football because they're not happy with how football is run today.
And listen,
go ahead.
I want to take this comment, right? Somebody, Claudine says, you're wriggling out of answering the question. I don't know if you saw that. But this is Tier 4 Bennett, big footballer from Village. Hey, respect, big baller, Tier 4. Bless up, man. Good to see you. I saw you the other day. You understand me? He says it's nice to see this platform where you guys can talk about the future of Jamaican football. But the way forward is far away from what you guys talking about. There was people before now that, that mess it up. Yeah, all right. And then he says restart is the only way forward.
But what does restart mean, though?
Yeah, what is restart? That is the question because the first thing we have to do for me is we have to decide: are we going to fight to the end with this campaign? And if we're going to do so, are we going to do so with this coach? Or do we put somebody in and say, listen, whether you succeed or you fail, we're going to keep you and give you an next cycle? Or we say go with somebody as an interim and replace them. Those are decisions we have to make. But what we can't do is to find ourselves back in this position in 2025. It is like the United States, right? The last World Cup, the United States did not go. I don't know if you realize that. They missed the last World Cup.
They made a lot of changes to the administration.
Yeah. Everything.
They made a lot of changes.
Everything changed. Right? The whole administration, everything. Even the football. In fact, even MLS soccer changed. Meaning they had less people from certain territories in MLS. In other words, the focus of this was Trump's philosophy before it was America first. They restructured their whole football, getting into college to play football, everything to make it about America. Then their recruitment was bigger and larger than before. I heard like from the last World Cup, they were looking across the world to find out, to touch base, connect with young Americans all over who are in different clubs and created data. So I'm saying that unless we begin to think and operate that way, we are going to be stuck. And we're going to have these conversations year after year after year.
But man, I mean, Speed was on coach's desk, right? And the way he was talking, he's conflicted. You can't have people in the administrations who are conflicted, right? They want their players in their club's team to get exposure. They have quota system no matter what they say. They're not going out. They're complaining about costs to bring players over. They don't have a scouting system to go source players wherever they reside in the world, the best players. So as I've said numerous times, the paddy shop has to change. You want to change Tier 4, T4. I know I'm just destroying your name. Or Tier 4, you pronounce it. The paddy shop has to change the football. It's like Jamaica society. Jamaica society needs a restart. Jamaica needs a restart. Just like the football needs a restart. We need a restart. What does restart mean? They have this saying in the corporate environment, kill the company. That means if you were to start the company from scratch, what would it look like? Go start it over, give them the competition, start over and see what it would look like, and take the company forward. We need a football restart, as Tier 4 says. But the question is, do you want to do it with the people who have been running it before and who have not done a good job, versus getting new people in with new ideas, visionary to move the football forward?
Yeah, Richard, listen, what I saw the same thing with England because before you had Sam Allardyce, was it Sam Allardyce before this coach? They tried Ericsson. Listen, even the English FA, they have changed some coaches before they actually decided to stick with Southgate. So the international football doesn't give allowance for 3, 4, 5 years of failure, you know.
I think, man, I think Southgate was a reaction to what happened to Allardyce. I don't think Southgate was a strategic selection, right?
Okay.
Allardyce came in, didn't last. How long did I last night? But like about 2 minutes after he got caught in some sting. They had to get rid of him. They had to put somebody in play. And he was successful with the under 21s, right? So what they did, which was smart, was what he did was brilliant when he came in was he almost changed out the entire team. He got rid of Theo Walkers of the world. He got rid of players who he didn't respect. He had his younger players who we knew and who we think would do a good job. He basically revamped the entire team, frankly. Brought in younger players who were trained differently, who had different skill sets, who he believed could be successful. And he was successful.
Well, Kronk, I would slightly, I, just to add to what you're saying, I think that Southgate appointment for England was very interesting in that I think it was a very good strategic long-term move in that Southgate was familiar with younger players at the under 21 level, and importantly, the hierarchy trusted his decision making. And it really saddens me that Theodore is not necessarily trusted in his decision making. I think that a renovation of Jamaican football at so many levels is, I agree with you, Cronky, much needed. I remember hearing the discussion, for example, about the parishes. I found that really interesting. There were maybe too many small footballing teams, and maybe having a parish system of representation could make for a greater depth of competition in the Jamaican leagues themselves. And I think that would be interesting. I don't know what you make of that, Unseen, regarding the parish model of football in Jamaica. And one more thing I'd like to say, as a coach, we're used to a lot of media accountability and press conferences and accountability. I'm always fascinated when I'm watching the JPL when it comes to the interviews at the end of games and watching the interviews with the players and the coaches. Some are, shall we say, more confident than others. Cronky,
I like that euphemism. I like that euphemism. It's a little more confident.
Richard,
that's a good one, Richard.
It comes down to coaching education. I was at Phoenix, I carried 2 players there to put in the academy. And
okay,
when you see Craig Butler sister, because he have a session with his sister, she's a communication, she have a degree in communication and stuff like that. So she have a session with the players. They have to call their name properly. They have to speak properly in that session. To try. Some of them can't, but they try, and they teach them day in, day out to conduct an interview and stuff like that. In the school system, nobody does that. You understand? In the school system, nobody does that. In the Premier League or in a club situation, nobody does it. I never see it done yet. Right? So coaching education is one of the biggest problems in Jamaica. Until we can fix that, then even when I go to the JFF, I do a week training. I do a week training there. It doesn't teach you anything. You understand me? When I do the level 1 and the level 2, they do a week training. Right? It don't teach you how to teach the kids how to talk properly and do interviews and those stuff.
Listen. All right. So let me say this. Cranky, I mean, you're a celebrity, my friend.
You're making up stuff. I didn't go to Cornwall.
You're a celebrity. I hear man say that. One man said that you must have been at Rossi's. The next man said that you're a goalkeeper at Cornwall. Man said see on KC School Challenge Quiz. You're the owner of multi-professional teams, including Arsenal.
I have a familiar face, Manny. I have a familiar face. You
All
can't
right,
pass
but
for
Man is
anything.
one.
but MC,
I want to answer CC.
let me deal. Let me
I want to answer CC when I finish.
All right. All right. So let me say this, right? I appreciate what Craig Butler is doing. Very good friend of mine. I think he is doing a very good job. And it is one model of how an academy system can work. Same thing with Mount Pleasant. All right. But I think sometimes we forget that we have had success not using a particular kind of system. What do I mean by that? Harborview had Ricardo Gardner playing Major League Soccer at 13 years old. People, and we're going to get this later, one person going to come on and verify this. Ricardo Gardner was not called for Jamaica playing for Wolmer's. Rene Simoy spotted him playing Major League at Harborview. And Gregory Messam, who was a starting national left back, was on the bench and Gardner was on the field. Rene Simoes approached Captain Burrell to change the rule because he's saying that national players should not be benched. He ended up watching the game and selecting Ricardo Gardner. Right? Ian Pepe Goodison was not selected playing Major League Arena in the academy. And so the point I'm making is that there could be players in the system that we presently use, but do you have the technical leadership like Asimo is at the top to identify these talents wherever they are in Jamaica to bring them in? Because if everything has improved, that means footballers must be better than Ricardo Gardner's time. If everything is improving, phones have improved, computers have improved, cars have improved. So we would want to say the footballers would be improving. So the question is, within the same system that we have, yes, we need the academies, but within the same system we have, maybe we are not doing what we're supposed to do in terms of the recruiting and finding the players. When last of any of our coaches gone to a corner league to watch a game, Simoes used to do that. You're muted, Cranky.
Man, I don't disagree with you, but times have changed, you know.
That is true.
Many more local players who are playing overseas, so they have been spotted by someone, right? And everyone's always looking for the opportunity. Where's this differential talent that I can then leverage? I mean, it's good for the teams. They get a fee for them. It's good for the players. They get a chance to generate income for their vocation. So I wouldn't say that doesn't happen now. I think it happens differently. Because back then, there weren't a lot of players playing overseas. Back then, right? There's much less players. Today, there's a litany of Jamaican local developed players who are playing their trades in foreign countries. The question you asked though is a large one, which is, does Jamaica have a very good scouting network, big enough to really assess the talent available at its disposal, to see hidden talent, which may not be apparent, and to bring those talent into the national program? That's the question. I would assume, given all the academies you have nowadays, all the different exposure players get locally, that those players are there. The question is the evaluation of talent whereby you can spot those hidden gems. So you can call them hidden gems, it's not pervasive, and then bring them into the national program.
Yeah, like this guy, I saw for Bennett, like Troy Smith. Some of these guys were at Village. And like, I can't, like for the life of me, I can't understand why we don't have a system. And that's what I'm saying. It is and many of us are right, including your Cranky, that if say Whitmore is replaced, is the problem fixed?
No,
that is the question.
I keep telling you, Whitmore is not the problem. The main problem is not Whitmore. It's part of the problem. He's not the main problem. The main problem, people in their nice offices making decisions, making poor decisions continuously, not executing their responsibilities the way it should be. They're the ones who select the coach. They're the ones who select the program. They're the ones who provide the tool. They're the ones who control the purse strings. They are the problem. Everyone keeps focusing on Whitmore because he's the easy target. He's what's in front of you. He's the one making the decision related to the coaching the team and managing the team. He's not the main problem.
And
Problem sits in the problem is the ones who over Whitmore, who frankly indicated that the process was what Speed tell us, which is when Speed was on coach's desk, he said a couple of things. One is it's a performance-based business. I'm gonna paraphrase him, and decisions are made when you're not performing. That was one. Two is the technical committee doesn't fire the coach; they make a recommendation to the board, and it's a board job to execute. We had news breaking about the coach being fired. The technical committee supposedly met and made a recommendation. 5 of 7 say he should be terminated. And what, we are like a week plus later and we heard nothing? Like, how long does it take to sit down and make a decision on a coach's fate and a coach's future? It's not that difficult. We saw Man U didn't plan to fire Solskjaer. They went to Watford, lose 4-1, and he's gone, a day later? They called an emergency meeting. That's why they don't have a coach in place in Manix Man. Because at least when Chelsea fired Lampard, they had people in the pipeline.
Well, Cranky, on that note, I'm hoping that they don't have anybody until the playoffs a couple of weeks from now.
Well, no, they're bringing in this German fella I hear, who's going to be the interim manager, but he's supposed to be a brilliant manager, but he wants to run the entire program. So they bring him in for interim on the end of the season, so they could try to source Pochettino, I assume. But even if he comes in, because he said they talked about the Chelsea job when Lampard got fired. Right, for Tuchel, and he didn't take it because they want to be an interim coach. I guess he's since changed his mind because he probably believes I come in, perform well, I can get the job permanently.
Yeah. I see a coach here, Coach Taylor saying 1, long-term development. 2, a philosophy of play nationally. 3, a coaching philosophy. 4, age group development pool with age-appropriate coaching education. That's a nice way. But you know, let me give you something, right? I did an interview with Desmond Gaddafi-Smith, and he was speaking about his own son. And he said he knows people within the JFF having played. He was a part of the World Cup campaign, and he should have gone to the World Cup. But we're not going to get into that, right? And he had his son, and he made contact for his son, who, like I said, that, and this is why I tell people, when they hear the former players talk, they want overseas players on the team. Let me tell you why. Because most of them, their kids are not born in Jamaica. I would say 90% of the players that represent Jamaica, leading up to that campaign and into the World Cup, their kids have dual citizenship and probably are living in the States or in England. Most of them. So they know that people who are born outside of Jamaica will have to play. So he said he tried to get his son. Remember, this is a national player, you know. He tried to get his son to just be looked at, and he got no response. So we and this is a national player. This is a person who represented the country, who was a son, who wanted to, and he spoke about other players. And the same whole recruitment issue is what I think is happening. There is nothing at all systematic to tell where the best Jamaicans are until they show up.
Is this a fundamental problem of the JFF? And for Jamaica, if the JFF wasn't there, could you envisage minds and hearts from and within Jamaica who could oversee such a systemic change to identify and work with talent across the Jamaican diaspora? It's a real challenge, and we can't just take this thing for granted. But what do you guys think? Do you think it's an easy task? Is it achievable? Or bear in mind, Jamaica is a relatively it's a small country by world comparisons, but the talent is, as Kronk said, it's vast, relatively speaking. But to identify, there's going to be, I can see cracks, people falling through the cracks. But I do think and shake my head when former national players have their sons going for trials and seeing certain players shining with potential, putting their hands up and not getting a looking or getting looked at and getting a blind eye turned towards them. So this recruitment and this restructuring is something that I'm paying keen attention to, because it's a real thing. But are we doing a disservice to Jamaica and thinking that it's just the JFF being incompetent, or is there an alternative set of minds and hearts who could actually do a credible job? If they're out there, I'm all for it, and it's going to be a heck of a challenge, though.
I think there has to be people in Jamaica. Jamaica's a lot of smart people, right, in the country. I'll say this though, Jamaica's had significant brain drain. I was reading an article that says 85%, you want to quantify it in terms of people, have sort of left Jamaica. You think about it from a brain drain standpoint, right? They have a lot of brain drain in Jamaica. And even with that, Jamaica still has competent people on the island, could actually run the program, I believe. But there's always going to be competing quarters, right? You hear Craig Butler talk for a second. A man's man, big up Craig Butler. And I know he's your friend, Manny's man, so I won't call him out on your program. But I say, if you listen to Craig Butler talk sometimes, you just scratch your head about some of the things that he say. And if someone like him, who probably has done really well, he has done really well, if you think about where he came from, what he's accomplished, if he would exercise more diplomacy in how he engages, I'm sure he would have been in with the organization, and maybe he would have gotten co-opted and end up the same way, but probably could influence them in terms of direction of travel, right? But Jamaicans in general get in their own way, frankly, because we are strong-headed, difficult, hard to deal with, fastidious, whatever it is that we are. The attributes that make us really, really good are also just our biggest detriments, which may seem counterintuitive, but that's the way it is. So the question for us is, which is from a footballing standpoint, Richard and Manning's man, which is, do we have the desire for the program to get better? Or just a small segment of the society who love their football and want to get better? If that's the case, if one were to get better, then how do I change materially what we do and how we do it to really improve the football? And as someone just mentioned, I think the person was a coach, which is, I'm not so much focused on playing style or philosophy of playing. You have to have infrastructure. And that's why you're seeing more and more, before in life, actually, Richard and Manny's man, pure talent used to get you where you need to get to. And a perfect example of that is West Indies cricket. Pure talent, you could dominate pure talent. You can't do that anymore. Infrastructure is just as important as talent. Because when you see countries like England doing well in cricket, for Christ's sake, and India doing well in cricket, they have the money to put the programs in place, to structure it a certain way, to operate a certain way, to allow them to foster and to grow and develop and to expand and to do really well.
Great
so look at the countries who do really well in some of these sports nowadays and go look at their resources and infrastructure, and you'd be surprised how it works. And the Premier League is the best example of that nowadays, Richard. The English league was a good league, but it wasn't like the Italian league. It wasn't like La Liga. Now there's only one real league, true league in world football, you know. The rest of the leagues are in the background, pick up of crumbs. In fact, La Liga lost its 2 Premier elite teams. It doesn't even have that crumbs. So they pick up crumbs. The Premier League is far ahead. They just signed a $2 billion a year deal with NBC, for Christ's sake. So there's more and more money in the coffers. They can buy better players, put better infrastructure in place, and be able to carry forward their program. We, as you said before, and as we have always said, we're a small country with not enough resources. But I still think the country as a whole, and maybe people in the diaspora too, haven't done a good job of connecting local with international, of working in tandem across all elements of society, not just football, to really help each other progress and do well. And football is just a microcosm or just an element of that. And we should be surprised at where football is. But the one thing we have, which other people don't have, we have a whole bunch of players who are playing outside Jamaica, who have the ability to play for Jamaica, and we haven't done a good job of pursuing them. And even though we don't have the infrastructure, Richard, someone has it, developed them for us, and we still haven't leveraged it. We still don't have enough humility and enough sense, frankly, to go source those players. If you want to say they're not committed, I don't really care if they're committed, Richard, so long as they play for me and I win. I don't care how committed they are, right? If they play for me and I win, that's all. I'm using them, they're using me. They want to improve themselves. They want to get the notoriety. They want to get the exposure. I'm going to get the dollars when I get to the World Cup. I can invest back in my program. So who cares if they're committed or not, given the narrative was spread in Jamaica from people like Butler himself, frankly. Management, I hate to call him out. The coach does it. Butler does it. The local community, coaching community does it. Or the people in charge that probably should be setting the narrative and be able to embrace those players. So it permeates the entirety of who we are and what we do in terms of not setting ourselves up for success.
It sounds like a situation of someone's tripping up someone. You're tripping up yourself. Man in man, would you say that what Kronk has said is fair? I'll also mention that I've not gone into detail in terms of how Mr. Butler operates. I've seen him in a couple of interviews, and I think I will take some time to research the gentleman a little more. But do you think that Jamaican society and Jamaican football is a microcosm of Jamaican society and finds itself tripping itself up when they could actually make the use of the best of what they have at their disposal to meet this grandiose challenge before us?
Let me just say this. I agree with Cranky with most of what he has said. I think we're on the same page. And what I'll add to it is this as well. If I'm going to get the player, I can get the administrator. We need to create a system that if you're a Jamaican and you can do the job, unless the job requires you to reside in the country permanently, you can get the job. What does that mean? Is that the shifting mentality must not only be at the playing level, but at the administrative level. So if we have someone who is Jamaican, who lives in China and is a good football administrator or a good people manager, system creator, but he is Chinese of Jamaican descent, then here's what needs to happen. He should be able to apply for the job, because unless the job requires that you reside permanently in Jamaica, you should have the same opportunity as anyone else to do it. Just like with voting, that if I am Jamaican and have a Jamaican passport and I'm in China, I can come and vote in the election, even if I'm not going to live in Jamaica. I can still vote and select a prime minister. I too often when we think about sports, we only think about it from the playing perspective. And we want the best talent in the playing area. We need to look at the best talent in the administration of things in Jamaica as well. Because if there is a brain drain, then I would say a greater percentage of the greater minds are not residing on the island right now.
But management, that's by default, right? So it's not in unity to Jamaica. It's like almost, it's a lot of developing countries that this occurs, right? Jamaica even much more so, proximity of the US to Jamaica. Because if you think about India, for example, most intellectual talent when it comes to technology resides in India. Most of it across the globe. That's where the US source from. That's what the UK is sourcing from now. That's all it, apart from maybe China. So those people are not coming here because they want to leave India, right? They're coming to the US, for example, because they see the opportunities there. Will generate more income. Similar with Jamaica. Most of people in Jamaica who can make a really good living outside of Jamaica, they can't get paid equivalent dollars in Jamaica, are going to migrate to someplace else.
It's like India's got a problem with doctors.
Because
I'm saying, Cranky. What I'm saying, Cranky,
but you're right, man. You're right.
When I think about, say, for example, listen to you speak, right? I'm not saying that you should leave your job, but you should not be restricted in terms of serving in an administrative capacity in football if you so desire, because you're not living in Jamaica. Or like,
I'm gonna stop you right there.
Yeah.
Look at the response to the English-born players.
But that is what I'm saying.
Can you imagine the response of you bringing somebody to run a football program that live in Jamaica? People would lose their minds, especially the fraternity.
But here's the thing. What I'm saying though is that and here's how it would work in a cranky. Because follow me. I'm saying that we are fighting. A lot of us are fighting. Say yes, the players are. The administrators also are. If he's in England, he's just as Jamaican as the 18-year-old player that we want. And even in our reason, most of us want the players, even the people who say, yes, we need Mikel Antonio. If we found a manager over there who says he wants to come, a lot of us would say we don't want any man have to live here. Man have to live at Jamaica. Man have to do this. I'm saying that the same stance we have with the players it's the same idea we need to have when it comes down to the administration, because we are all admitting that a greater percentage of the greater minds reside outside of Jamaica. It doesn't mean that they're not great minds here, but there's a greater percentage of the greater minds living outside of Jamaica. And they have a vested interest. In fact, they probably one of the biggest contributors to Jamaica's economy is what they call those things when money gets sent from remittance.
Yeah, remittance, 20-something%, by the way, the GDP.
Of the GDP.
Yeah.
So the point is, financially, they are making greater contribute. In fact, you know what is funny? The great minds in Jamaica who are making money are sending it out.
Yeah. Mr. Speed said that when he talked. He was giving me a hard time about. I raised that point. He said, "No, I send money overseas." Versus
they're sending it out of Jamaica, while the great minds who are Jamaican outside of Jamaica are sending back resources.
Well, it's not just great minds; it's just in general. Jamaicans are contributing to people who live in Jamaica, right? You migrate for a reason, to help your family, to help yourself. So when you come here, obviously, I mean, you know how much time you go to I don't go to Western Union anymore. I use an app now, but you go to the long line at Western Union trying to send money, especially, I mean, it's constant. It's not one-off. It's the whole Caribbean, by the way. It's not just Jamaica. And Mexico is even more than Jamaica. But I'm just saying, in general, you're saying management, which is people migrate for a reason. They're going to remit money back to the island. And Jamaica is a significant recipient of that. So, and I said this before, and people gave me a hard time about this, which is, you want to get the money and it's fine, but in the other things you don't want to associate with me. But if we send money back, it's okay. But you know what? Stay away from other areas where you have to make decisions or get involved. That's not the right way to approach it. You should be trying to figure out, I have an asset someplace else. How can I leverage that asset to help me in whatever endeavor I want to pursue? Yeah.
Richard, Unseen, which club is the best run club in your estimation in Jamaica right now?
Mount Pleasant.
Mount Pleasant. All right. Is the owner Jamaican?
No.
All right. Should he leave?
No.
Would you want more like him?
Many more.
All right.
So man's man.
No.
What's the connector there? What's the thing that he brings? What does he bring?
Money.
Exactly.
Money and professionalism.
Yeah, I agree, but the money is important. If you bring professional alone, it wouldn't work. The money helps quite a bit, and money is an imperative.
All right.
Is that the team managed by Wally Downs?
Right. So when you have a mind like that, you cannot say he's not Jamaican, so I cannot have him in the system. It must be from the perspective, he has done so much from Jamaica for Jamaica. How can we fit him in the system? But our thinking is this: he's not Jamaican. We don't measure people's contribution. We look at whether they are Jamaican or not. So instead of saying, listen, look at all that this man has done and he's not Jamaican, we need to find a way to fit him into the system. Here's what Jamaicans say: he's not Jamaican, so we don't want him in this. He can put the money in a club, but that's it. And we have to change that kind of a thinking.
I think Our View has been one of the clubs I think has been run. Our View's been around for a long time.
Yeah, man.
It's always been well run.
That's what I say right now. That's what I say right now. Right now.
Yeah,
because Harborview and Portmore is with Horace Reed and all of those guys. They are pretty arrogant, but they don't own you see, the thing is, a lot of these clubs don't own real estate. They don't own property. That's that. So when you say it's well, when they probably check their assets, cranky. Like Portmore has done so well with selling players, and they don't own a field.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the Harborview field is for sale. I mean, that field has been a community for eons, right? But they have always. I mean, I used to live in Harborview at one point. Actually, they've always been a well-run club, always bringing youth through the whole program, always operate as a community, and they've been around for a long, long time. You know. Some people at Portmore are later on. I've been around forever.
Yep. Well, from because even when they had this whole Rastafarian movement, when people were being in 1977, the entire Harborview team decided to go Casey Jumpy Harris, all of these guys, Clive Giordini, DV Hills, had afros, and some of them turned Rasta in support of that. So they have been around a very long.
Yeah, they weren't Rastas then. I used to live in Overview. They were Rastas.
They were Rastas for real?
Not then. No, they were Rastas then. No, no. I used to live in Overview I lived in Overview for a year and a half before I came here, actually.
Okay.
It's a very good community. It was a working class community. It was a very good community.
Yeah.
People get along very, very well. And the football was a connector too.
I don't want to change the subject too much. Oh, go ahead, man. I had a question that came to my mind, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, what happened is that, like, I want to, for those who are coming on late, probably expecting Duran Tati Brown, it never worked out. As soon as I come off the stream, we're going to try to fix it to see if there's a way we can get him to come on with Linval, Rudy Dixon, who we have on tomorrow. So again, apologies. Excuse me, apologies for that. So please just bear with us, all right?
So CC said brain drain is just, I agree, money is the primary reason, but also the safety issue is also becoming a primary concern for people. So it's not just money alone, even though money is the main contributor, but also, if people could feel comfortable about their living situation, they probably would make the sacrifice sometimes.
Yeah. So, right. So that's what the program was really about. I'm very grateful because I was going to wing it by myself, and then my friend Unseen jumped on, and then Richard. I mean, it is now 3:39 a.m. Around that time.
Don't worry about the time with Richard. Richard doesn't sleep at regular time.
Where is that? And Cranky gave up his Thanksgiving turkey to be on this.
No, I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat no turkey.
No turkey.
You said that before. See?
For the turkey.
There's only one turkey around, and that's brainless. There's only one turkey.
So I really appreciate them coming on and thing. But I don't want to keep them long because, like I said, it wasn't planned, and I like, if I'm going to have people on, I give them the opportunity to at least know so they can prepare. So it's 7:38. So I'm going to give them more time than they want to wrap up, right? So we have up to 3 hours, which is 21 minutes, and it's 3 of them, right? So I'm going to give them 5 minutes each to wrap up, and then I will take the 6 to big up our sponsors and close out the show. So who is going to go? So Richard, any question you ask, you have to answer it.
Wow. Well,
or we can take it out to your time. You can ask Cranky the question, but it is taken out of your time.
No
so
problem.
you'd have less time, and then he would still have his 5 minutes. So go ahead.
Wonderful. No problem at all. Look here. This journey, this Jamaican national team journey in the octagonal has been dramatic, and it's been disappointing, with a few highs and far too many lows. What I'm looking forward to now is not quite a hypothetical question, but it's something that is on our doorstep right now, and it is this present campaign. We've got 7 points on the board, 8 games played. It's a mathematical chance of qualifying. The question I want to find out from you good folks, viewers and subscribers alike, is what do we do now? And specifically, Theodore Tapper Whitmore at the helm, at the wheel. Ollie is not at the wheel, but Tapper is currently at the wheel of the Jamaican national team. What is Theodore Tapper Whitmore's instructions going ahead? Do you trust him to reflect on what's been and to go for the likes of Jamal Lowe, to go for the likes of a Ravel Morrison, once fit, present and ready to go, to don the jersey, not to run experiments, aka Lamar Walkers, to put in the likes of a Javan Brown once he is firing on all cylinders, and to bench or to leave out of the squad certain other players who have assumed that particular position, to look at the central defensive midfield area and to relegate and close off, lock off the previous experiment that he was running involving a certain player of a certain age. do we expect or trust that he can, in reflection, go for broke and to call in players of the highest quality that Jamaica has available? Or do you see, as one particular vlogger suggested, that he be handed a piece of paper following this consultation after the technical committee have had their say, and in this extended period of deliberation, to say, Tapper, sign on the line which is dotted, which includes potentially you consulting with the likes of a Paul Hall or a committee in selecting your chosen squad for a do or die effort for the remainder of this campaign. I don't believe, by the way, that we should down tools. This could be, under Tapper, an opportunity for us to send a message to the Jamaican diaspora that we want the best of the talent available. We're not looking at the isms and schisms. We're not going to be looking at selections where we don't know if you're coming or going, and we are highly skeptical, which then reflects badly and doesn't or go well for marketing the Jamaican national team to aspiring dual nationals. There'll be players born in England of Jamaican parentage who are eligible to represent Jamaica, who will be looking at the situation in Jamaica under Tapper and thinking, wait a minute, there's a coach there who has been given a free hand and is making decisions, is speaking to certain players, is leaving his assistant to speak to certain players. I mean, it's just not a good look. The JFF, as Stan said, absolutely are a stumbling block for various reasons. Unseen alluded to it. You know, they don't bleed football. Their heart is not necessarily in the best interest and for the best interest of Jamaican football. They may beg to differ, and they're entitled to their say. But this remaining Jamaican campaign in the World Cup, I don't think all is lost from the point of view of us sending a message that we are going to select players on form, ready, able to play, and we're not going to be looking at and scratching our heads and banging our heads against the table and being frustrated by a system that has a coach and administration that can call the shots with a particular agenda that is not to the betterment of Jamaican football. So I'm looking for the remainder of the 6 games to be showcasing the best of Jamaican talent, and going forward, to be frank, with a coach that has the ability to bring the best out of the Jamaican players. It is not, in my opinion, Theodore Tapper Whitmore, but I salute and acknowledge that he has done what he can do. But I think for various reasons, there's a better future ahead, and I'm looking forward to that. And that begins with the selection of the best players available for the Jamaican team. I'm looking forward to that by hook or by crook, because there's a style of football that we need to see. We need to see a system of play. We need to see players that are warmly welcomed. We need to see good, solid preparation, a sense of unity. I remember I heard recently, just my last point here, a guy at Fulham, Kronk, I'm sure you know of him, Mitrovic. Mitrovic is a player, I think he's Montenegrin, and he scored.
Isn't he Serbian?
He could be Serbian. Serbian.
Mm-hmm.
He scored the winner, last gasp winner for Serbia. Excuse me.
Against Portugal, yeah.
Right. He said he's willing.
Stamina
I can't speak.
Speak.
He said he was willing to run through brick walls along with his teammates in order to achieve what they went on to achieve, which is qualification for Qatar. Do you know, in that interview and the various sentences that were quoted, he did not name the coach. I could not tell you the name of the coach. What I can tell you is that the proof was in the pudding. The proof was in the eating. Mitrovic sweated blood and tears and produced a performance against the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo and Bruno Fernandes that got them across the line. And it's no accident when you can beat a team like Portugal at home. I want to see Jamaica shining just like Mitrovic and Serbia. The way forward is to get the cream of the talent, not to leave behind local players, by no means, not at all. So, man, I salute you for your idea. But we need great minds with a love of the game and a bigger awareness of the bigger picture going forward. So, gents, with that, let's keep our fingers crossed that we see and support Jamaican national team going forward with the finest crop of players at their disposal. Less isms and schisms, and all the best for our 2026 campaign. All the best.
Tiddlywinks. Who is going next? Cranky or Unseen, go ahead now. Your time.
All right, so I'm going to start with a little, experience I had with the JFF. So I was invited to the JFF center that's in New Kingston, and it was a grassroots, it was a grassroots thing they were talking about and stuff like that. So I know they got money to give the coaches. All right. So I got an envelope with, I think, $2,500. So they invited grassroots coaches from each parish, right? 2 from each parish, right? And they give them $2,500. I don't know why. But what $2,500 can do, you understand me? $2,500. They said that they're going to get equipment from here and they're going to send it to the FAs, that's the parish FAs, right? And from that day till now, I don't see anything change or any equipment that is sent to the parish. You understand me? So when I look at that now, you can't go nowhere without grassroots program. You can't go nowhere.
Sorry, I have to stop and see. I didn't want to do this, but so you go somewhere, no money was promised to you, and somebody give you an envelope with $2,500 Jamaican dollars. What is the problem?
Money was because I don't really want to talk certain things. Money was given. More money was to give to us. Sorry.
You have proof of that more money was supposed to be given.
It was verbal, so I don't. It was verbally. Somebody told me. The person.
Right.
Person
after you get the 2,500, the man them say, no, see, I have more money than that if you get. Not true.
No, man. Before, the person who sent me the invitation said that X amount.
Yeah.
And then when we reach now. Yeah.
Yeah. So did you
still confused? I'm still so you're talking about $2,500 Jamaican money or US dollars?
Jamaican dollar.
So that's about what? I don't know, $17, whatever that number is. I can't quote in Jamaican dollars because I always
$20. Let's say $20 back then.
I said $20. So that's lunch money.
Yeah,
lunch money.
So they gave you lunch money. So that I'm saying, what is the problem?
You put your cocoa bread and some juice.
What I'm saying is that there was an X amount to be given the person invited, and then they change it. You understand me?
Yeah, maybe I don't know. I'm saying that. But go ahead, continue the story. I was trying to find out what is the link like.
So the money part now, they will go to the part where they promise the FA's equipment to start the academies and everything. About 5 years ago, And no, I can't get a call from
So let me ask you a question.
the
You go somewhere,
president
you
of
go to
St.
a
Catherine
coach's training.
or
You go
anybody.
to a coach's training. The JFF says we are going to give the 14 parishes, right? Listen to me, listen to me. You said you were supposed to get more money. They gave you 2.5. And in the same breath, they gave you a promise that they were going to send equipment for academies, right? You really think if you were supposed to get more than 2.5 and you get 2.5, that they would have had money to send to all 14 parish presidents to equip academies?
Money is
You
one.
don't think you're too naive. You don't think you're naive to believe that. But go ahead still. Go ahead.
Not necessarily for academies now, but they said that they are going to keep like clinics and stuff and for the parish. You understand? So the equipment would be given to the parish, not academies in the parish. You understand? So you can believe that. And then now you hear say them get a certain amount of money to do certain things and you now see it come forward, it come true. You understand me? So as what Cranky said, the Potty Shop Inc. company needs to get a restart, a reboot, all the start over football in Jamaica. So that's the biggest problem. Now fast forward to where we're at now in this World Cup qualification. I don't think that we will be going to World Cup. I think whether we change coach or not, we won't be into World Cup. So me put my head there already, and I'm not going on hope road, hope and pray for nothing at all. It's just a fact for me. We're not going to World Cup based on where we're at now. It's too hard, and worse, they're not going to fire Tapa. So we are out. Management, be pleased to promote our show for tomorrow, please.
So go ahead and promote it now, man.
No man, you promote it.
People, this guy's excited about the schoolboy football show. So tomorrow we have a new person who we have oh geez, Neil Oxford, that's the son. He's going to be a part of the show now. You know, we have Chris, the sports guy, we have Paul Maxwell, and we have Unseen. We're going to discuss. There are some very interesting games. And Claudine, you were wrong. You were teasing Brain Drain that KC defeated Calabar. KC did not defeat Calabar. All right. It was Kingston High that defeated Calabar.
It's even worse. In Jamaica, they go Kingston High. It's much worse.
Why is my bad?
But that was the most hilarious game. The defender, Cranky, the man will get a corner, right? Let me tell you about this. So Kingston High get a corner in the 98th minute of the game. The Calabar defender cleared the ball upfield, almost to half line. Because Kingston High is trying to get a draw game. The defender runs down the ball, trying to kick it outside. And he says, oh, you know, like that was back in the day, Jamaica defending. You know that he did that. The ball went high in the air and dropped in the back of the net, you know. That's how the goal scored.
He scored an own goal?
No, he scored and Calabar.
Oh, you mean he getting the ball out and he kicked the ball? Okay.
Yes,
okay.
From out of his half, he kicked the ball, looped over the goalkeeper's head into the back of the net. The game ended.
Wow.
1-0 to Kingston.
Well, I mean, whenever Calabar loses at anything, that's pleasurable for me. Anything. You have a lot of Calabar friends, our Calabar promoters. So when they lose, that's always a good thing.
You know what I find amazing though? Like Kingston College have a team that every single almost the entire team can vote in the next election. I don't know how. no, see, I'm not kidding. They were thinking that. I don't know how they were able to get 18 and 19-year-olds alone in their team.
What do you mean? They're still in school?
No, I know they are still in school, but like, how do you? Normally you'd have like.
And by the way, the junior teams are coming through are good too. Don't make it look that way. The junior teams behind them, it's a program where you have matriculation into the senior team, and the kids behind them are good, as you know. The coach team are good also. So they're gonna go straight into the first team when this team move on. But give the seniors they deserve
But tomorrow, yeah, man, tomorrow that show will be on at 11 in the morning, so you can check it out. Vaxal is not in Manning Cup, B-Mate, yeah. But
Richard, make
Cranky,
sure you're up for that show.
yeah, man. Yeah, man. Cranky, your time.
I mean, 5 minutes or 2 minutes. Usually I
No,
need
you
about half hour, you know, and I'm gonna need about half hour.
You know,
What time do I
half an hour.
have?
Yeah, go ahead, take it.
So
Take
I
it
heard Lenny Taylor says we should plan for 2026. So I'll start with now and then progress to the future. When you have 7 points out of 24, what's that, about 29%? One win of 8, so that's about 12.5%. How does a coach survive in anything you're doing in life? If you have 30, let's round it up to 30%, put a higher number. If you're only getting 30%, you only accomplish what you're supposed to accomplish, and your win rate is only in this campaign 12.5%, run it to 13%. How does that keep you into a job? In anything that you do, in any football, in any place in the world, if you have a win rate of 12.5% and your campaign points are possible 29% out of the maximum 100% you can get, how do you retain your job? So it goes back to Patty Shop Inc. And if they give you $20 unseen, prove my point, they're Patty Shop, that's your lunch money. And when I grew up in Jamaica, all we ate was patty and cocoa bread for lunch, even though it was bad for us, 24/7, we go on soda. That was my lunch. And it was less than $20, by the way. So the point I'm trying to make is this, is that I don't see where you start from in terms of the campaign, given what we have seen today, but it's players availability. And look, we should all agree that there have been some hiccups based on COVID that hasn't helped the program, right? There are unmitigating circumstances, unforeseen circumstances, which affected the program. But even so, all the teams in CONCACAF, I shouldn't say all of them, most of them are challenged, right? If you say outside of the US and maybe Canada, who have a lot of vaccination and can have crowds in their stadium, Mexico is challenged. We're all challenged. We don't have the same resources that some other teams do, like a Mexico do with over 100 million people. So they can fill their stadium and take the resources to invest in their team. What we do have, though, as Richard alluded to, is quality players. So how do I harness those quality players, bring them in, and really position them to be successful? We have been awful at doing so. Even with the players, we could have gotten more players, better players, collate those players, work with them, create cohesion to allow us to be successful. We haven't done so. So I'm agree with Lenny. I'm agree with Richard to some extent, which is focus on 2026. Finish this campaign as best as you can. Don't give up on the campaign, because once there's life, there's hope. But at the end of the day, your next step should be, you know what? I'm going to finish this campaign. What are the lessons learned? Because in anything you do in life, what have I learned I can take forward with me to help me get better as I move forward? And if we can all accumulate those lessons we have learned, even not being part of the program. We can probably come up with a lot of what has been learned, and we don't even have the insight knowledge of what transpired. So if we take those lessons and move forward, as someone mentioned, I think Lenny mentioned, try to make the under-17 work up. Well, the under-17 team to me should not just be Jamaican-born, locally developed players. You should source, if you want to really have a great program, go get those youngsters early. Look at the ones who are best. Look at the ones you can indoctrinate. Make them quote-unquote Jamaicans. And frankly, now in the US, soccer is so pervasive. I'm sure you can find talent here also. And it's closer. You don't have to fly to England 9 hours away. You can do both. You should do both, because England has a much better infrastructure. But the US infrastructure is catching up, and fast. Someone just sent me a video yesterday of her 12-year-old who was born in Haiti that she adopted playing football. And the kids are playing the ball on the ground, and they're playing the ball up from the back. And they're 12, 11, 10 years old. They're playing up from the back, and they're keeping the ball. And they have beautiful fields they're playing on. So I can see them as they go through. You're going to have gems coming through those programs. Some of them are going to be Jamaican born, because there's as much Jamaican probably here as you have, maybe not as much as in Jamaica, but it's not too far off, especially think about those with Jamaican lineage. So how do we source the globe to get those under 15, under 17s, under 20? A lot of them who Jamaican parents would love for them to play for Jamaica. They think they have the ability to do so before they get pulled into national programs in their home countries. And if you put that together, under 50. I understand people going to say, well, you're displacing those in Jamaica. No, you're not. You're supplementing the program. But also what you can do is try to build up that kind of sense of community whereby you can have people working together to allow you then to, you know what are my best talent? Let me bring to the program. You can always be supplemented with more times you go through because some people mature slower than others come to the program, but at least you know you have a slate of individuals who you can nurture, you can develop, progress to the program to get you to under 17, under 20, and then to 2026. But you should also be building up, you should also be thinking about, you know what, how do I get access to those communities? Coach, scouts in the UK, for example, scouts in the US. You can't do it pervasively sometimes just because you may not have the resources. We can find out, Paul Hall, do you know in the UK who can help us? Pro bono, frankly, or for a small stipend. Similar in the US. There are people, especially in the US, there are a lot of people who are Jamaican nationals who play for the national team or part of the community who coach overseas. Send me back some of those players they're playing for your team or who you know of who have a certain pedigree who I can bring into the program. Find a way to build a community that can allow you to gather all the talent that you can, the best talent that you have. You want to have a style of play, a philosophy, a system of play. Use those players as the pilot to be able to accomplish that. And I'm sure you get by 2026, you'll be in a very good place to have a program that's going to work really well. You don't have the money, frankly. I know people keep saying this, to develop the talent you want to in Jamaica. But what you need to do is get the money to do so. Work up qualification allows you to get quite a bit of resources. And if you use those resources right, you can start the progress. It's not going to get you the finished product, but at least you can start to invest in the program in the right way. And in the meantime, before 2026, also do what Spain has done in the coaching fraternity. Spain has what? Over 2,700 UEFA A licensed coaches, the most in the world for any one given country. Why do you think Spain plays the way they play? Coaches develop the same way, similar style of play, philosophy in football, tiki-taka football permeates Spain. Smaller stature, you can't run 24/7. You keep the ball. It's based on. I think Butler mentioned this one, but I disagree with him. Some things he said, but the culture you have, your physical attributes allow you to play a certain style of football, and allows you to be successful. Right? You don't have the physical strength or the stature to do a 100-yard dash in 10 seconds. But you know what? This is not a 100-yard dash. This is football. You can have different styles that can be successful. So how do I take what I have, embellish what I have, enhance what I have, to help me get to what I'm trying to achieve and make it sustainable? At the same time, what Speed and others are trying to accomplish, you can accomplish that by, if you enhance your program, get the players through, and let the players have an obligation to Jamaica when they go overseas. Not just about going and play and forget where they come from, but make them feel part of the program. Make some of the players, the national players, were part of the I told you, management, 5 minutes is not enough. Let those players be part of the program. Management talk about a player want to bring his son, just get a look and he can't even get access to. You know why? Because the JFF, no, I'm sorry. Patty Shop Inc. have no respect for players who play for the program. And the negotiation they were undergoing clearly reflects that. They don't respect the players when they play for the program. When they leave, you think they're going to respect them even less. I think there needs to be a sense of, you know what? We're all one, regardless of what you've achieved in life. We're all just people. Treat people you want to be treated. Work with people. You have a common cause, a common goal. Work our best to achieve that goal. And as Unseen Sports says something which is important, but what the academy is doing to develop players, not just your football skill, but your overall intellectual acumen is an imperative. Because when you leave Jamaica to go play overseas in a club, you got to have the know-how to think about what works for me. Are you aware to figure out what works, what doesn't work? How do I acclimate to the culture? How do I work within the culture? How do I develop the interpersonal skills to operate outside of my football skills? You need all those attributes to be successful. So I would love for Jamaican football to progress. And I'm sure each of us want to do our own little part to help that happen. And my hope is the parishes will make a decision that's in the best of the country, not in the best of for themselves individually. And that's the problem we have in Jamaica, which is it's about me, not about we. So I'll stop preaching, management.
Wonderful, wonderful. Somebody saying that you should seek to get a position at JFF. I don't. Cranky don't do volunteer work. Maybe when he's retired.
Yeah, when I'm retired, and that would be a 10 years from now.
Yeah,
At
there
some
you
point,
go.
you gotta take a break from. But I'm always saying this, man, when I retire, what am I gonna do? I
The
don't
man
like to
just
be
told you.
bored.
The man just told you. Yeah, you guys said right here. He just suggested what you could do. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you need to see someone to come and run a professional club in Jamaica like you used to do over there in
You use the wrong word, management. You say
Buffalo.
save. You can't save. And the money in the management, you have to invest.
Yeah,
You save and put your money in the bank.
Yeah,
You probably
invest,
lose money, put your money in the bank.
That is true. To get
You
to
have to
them
invest,
that.
you have to invest.
But let me say this, people.
That's support my academy.
Let me say this, people. In just to wrap up all things, because I think all three. Oh, Scracky can support his academy. I hear you. All three gentlemen have spoken and said, but I'll say this. And I always believe that when people are in volunteer position in high offices, that they must not be in certain positions of need, because it can become a means of conflict. I'm saying that because sometimes the problem we have in our football is because people feel like I have volunteered my time for so long, all the way up. Now I've gotten to the top. It's time for this to give back to me. All right. In the other FAs in the world, it is not like that. Rarely do you find persons who have struggled to put the thing where it's at, get to the position, because people know if you work hard to bring something up there, getting nothing, and you get to the place where everything is now in your hand, you could feel like, unless you have strong morals, that this owes me, and before I pay anyone else, I need to pay myself. I think it's part of our administration across Jamaica in sports and even in politics. Sometimes it needs to be addressed. That kind of thinking needs to change administratively. We also need to change how we look at grassroots footballs. We have to stop having our best kids play schoolboy football at 17, 18, and 19. And that's a function of the administrators of football, right? In other words, you have to give schools an incentive to make them not want to use those kids to play football in their schools. Are the kids an incentive? In other words, why would I take my son from Kingston College, from Calabar, from JC, from Woolmer's, from Manning's, from Stets, from Rossi's, from Cornwall, from any of those schools? Why would I take my child from a school like that to do something else in football in Jamaica when that school at 18 can help my child gets 18, they can help my child to get a scholarship and to get this? I'd rather stay and play just to get an opportunity to get my parents and myself out of the slum that I'm in. The administrators of football need to put something in place where there's a security for that child. Who is your top talent? I'm not asking that all kids, but a McGee, for example, should not have stayed in school until a certain age. And Alex Marshall should not have stayed in school until a certain age. These kids should have been taken out and be in some other sort of setting where there is a care and a direction that is provided for in their life, that they can end up taking care of their parents, basically.
So, management, I have a question for you.
Yes.
So that's not realistic given how Jamaica football program has grown up. So here's the question. In the US, they use the college system as the sort of farm system for certain professional sports, right? Especially mainly basketball and football also.
Yeah.
So why not change it around somewhat, which is, and in those systems, by the way, the best talent, 99% of the time, go to the best schools.
There you go.
So you have an accumulation of talent in the best schools, right? So you're playing in practice against the best players.
In college.
And you're in college, yeah?
Yeah.
You have Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, for example. And even Division 1 is some of the best schools are getting the best players. So you have an accumulation of talent in the top schools, but you also have coaches who may have coached professionally and some matriculated professional program. So you're getting the best coaches and the best talent. So the question is, it's hard to change the Jamaica system the way it's constituted, especially given how people sort of view their alma mater in terms of high schools and the resources they contribute to it. Why not try to tinker with the program somewhat to achieve what you're trying to achieve without saying we're going to pull them on and put them in some academy and for them to operate that way?
No, I'm saying that you can stay. No, I would say like Maggie, you can stay at your school. You can stay at your school, but you're going to come to our academy to prepare.
Right.
Will the school still allow you to play? They can. But here's what. When you're 17, you train at the Captain Horace Burrell Center, or if you're from Montego Bay, you train at the Westport Park, that is the next academy. If you're in Westmoreland, you train at the line, that's our next. We have academies that you can train. So your training, you can go back and play for your school, but you're going to be trained by our 14 coaches because we have to just tweak the system. So
so here's what I think you should consider, which is
yeah,
between September and December, I think that's when the competition runs, right? You can play for your schools. For the rest of the time during the year, you're in the academy.
There you go. You're in the academy, but you're still, if you want to still do subjects, you can, but you're trained.
Yeah, you should do subjects. Yeah,
you're right. You're still getting yourself educated. But now, instead of just playing football for your camp in August and then for the season, listen, we're going to keep you in an academy. We can't do it from year 5. So we're going to take the best 100 right across Jamaica, or 20 in every parish, and all of them. And here's what, Westmoreland, we're going to play some games. All parishes come every quarter, and we play a tournament.
I think that the administration should, well, I don't know who needs to do it, but it's administration, but someone needs to explore something different from what we do today to figure out how to identify talent early, develop the talent, and allow the talent to flourish. So what is the JFF doing it? Some other organization, whether the parishes, somebody needs to consider other options from what we have today, because what we have today is not working as well as we'd like it to work.
Listen, yeah, man. Again, I want to really thank you guys for coming on. Richard, thank you so much. I mean, long time I haven't seen you. Cranky, this is like a second time over here. Thank you as well.
You're welcome.
Bless up.
Yeah, man. People, let me tell you, right? So tomorrow you have to check out. We have our show that comes up at 11. Unseen, myself and Paul and Neil will be on, but you have the coaches desk. I like to tell people, listen, there are so many platforms we have now that do these things. You have coaches desk, my friend Coach Minzy, check it out. Ryan LFC. You have Military Guna. You have Talawa TV, Crystal, nice young lady, loves football. Check her out, right? You have Unseen Sports TV as well. You have Dre Anyweather. He talks Lakers and all of those things. I don't know. He chooses the teams like Liverpool,
Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas, yeah.
He's a fair weather fan. He picks the team that
Chelsea.
wins. Except for Dallas, by the way. Except for Dallas.
Yeah. But check out Dre Anyweather.
Barcelona.
Who am I? I said Military Guna already. You have Sports down the middle as well, with Eddie Guna and those guys there. I think I've Simon. How can I forget Simon and Reggae Boyz Coventry?
I max it.
I max it. Yeah. All right. So
there's a lot of them, if you think about it, you mentioned it, it's a lot of programs.
It's a lot of names.
And they would only be growing more and more. It's not gonna get less.
Yes. Yeah, man. But Lloyd O'Connor, good having you on. Tia4 Bennett, good to see you. Listen, we're gonna fix the Durant Brown issue and the Andy Williams. I'm going to speak to Andy and Durant as soon as I come on, and then I'll give you some information about what is going to happen. I also have some friends called Sports Frenzy. Very good guys. Some guys from up you and they started the old platform. Please check them out. And listen, Brian Mighton. This thing about the guy interviewed and talk about he does that in training all the while. Listen, I don't care what. Formula Sports, bless up. Yes, how could I forget Formula? The cool calm,
Formula Sports,
collective.
the
Yeah, man,
Formula
that's my friend, man.
Sports.
Listen, the man, I like the way the man speaks. The man don't need a microphone. Like he has this thing, this very calm command when he speaks. I like listening to when he articulates himself. But that don't. If I were interviewing him, I'd say, youngster, don't say that. Youngster, do not say that, youngster. You
He'll be
said,
under
oh,
pressure.
the
He'll be under
youngster said,
pressure.
listen, it was on television. If you go back and watch the highlights, you hear him screaming out, oh! He was clearing the ball. He wasn't trying to score. So don't let. How did he
If
tell
he was
the TV?
saying out of here, meaning get out of here, Calabar.
Maybe. Yes.
All that goal, all this shot.
Yeah, they end up unseen, and then we big up our sponsors and close. What were you going to say? Quickly. Oh, you were just stretching. All right, cool.
I was stretching.
Okay. Yeah, man. Again, big up our sponsors. Trick Nick is a Jamaican owned and operated company in Canada, and they use authentic Jamaican herbs and spices to make all their products. They're offering 25% discount and everything if you shop at www.tricknick.ca and use the code I am sure sports001. You'll get 25% discount. They have barbecue sauce, jerk marinade, hot pepper sauce, curry paste. Listen, I know Thanksgiving is almost over, but if you want to warm up some of that turkey and stuff, you can check them out. If you're planning for Christmas as well, you can check them out. I understand. Please do that and tell me what you think about the product when you try it.
Man, it looks like you put on weight, since me last year. Have you been tucking into some of that trick, Nick? Have you been tucking into some of that trick, Nick?
Listen, with Reggae Boyz, you either going to put on weight or lose weight. So you decide which one you want. I don't know. I choose to put it on. Yeah. But again, thank you so much. Really appreciate you taking your time to come on and be with us. Thanks to everyone in the comment section, all our moderators. Thank you as well. Pagan 180, Brian. Thank you, Fresh God, Claudia. Brain, what is his name? Cranky?
Brainless.
The brainless shutter who has been drained from his brain. So big up to all of you, and thank you so much. The person who sent me the message about reading the article, I don't necessarily like to read Chelsea articles because I'm an Arsenal fan. So unless you have some way of putting Arsenal in the description, it will be very difficult for me to read it. But nonetheless, it couldn't open still. So you need to resend it. My phone have a problem opening anything Chelsea related. Right? So you need
I'm a major Jamaica. You know what? I'm a major Jamaica. So many Chelsea fans. I used to say so many bandwagonists because I had never known Jamaica to be a big Chelsea supporter, but things have changed.
Arsenal, you carry, right?
Huh?
Yes, I don't team
carry
with legacies.
Arsenal. Yeah, I don't carry them.
Arsenal.
I'm a supporter and a fan of the
That's
Arsenal football.
So good.
You're smart, man. Yeah, big up Peso as well. Listen, people have made Peso a moderator, and Peso put somebody at timeout, and they asked Peso, Reggie, they said
Chelsea to the world.
They said, Peso, you time out the man. The man said, oh, that man start quarreling in the chat, me no time out no man, me just come thing, when you come talk about me time out. They said, but big up yourself, my friend Peso. Again, thanks to everyone for joining. Enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving, those who are celebrating Thanksgiving. And for the rest of you, enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend. Again, all three of you, thank you so much for joining me tonight. We leave with a word from our sponsors, Trick Nick.
Trick Nick Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Jamaican herbs and spices add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.